The sun rises on Doji Plains. The emerald green of its rice paddies and barley fields is soon tinged with gold as dawn finds a crisp, clear autumn day. The otherwise blue sky is marred, however, by columns of black roiling smoke on the horizon to the south. The air smells of war, of oiled steel, of fire, of blood. The Crab and the Crane clans clash in skirmishes along the southern border as the threat of all-out war looms. Along a rough trade road that winds its way through the green hills of the province of Kishou, 4 horses carry their riders at a near gallop. They've been riding hard for a couple of days now. The riders bear the colors of their clans, of Scorpion, of Lion, of Unicorn, and Phoenix. But they carry objects that supersede those colors, that supersede the duty to their families and their clans. Jade Gavels, the instruments of justice carried by all Jade Magistrates. These 4 Jade Magistrates ride hard for the old wood set against the crumbling peaks on the western border of the province. Down the trade roads, you 4 ride, and in the distance you see the old wood materialize out of the early morning fog set against a crumbling peak. The forest is dense and primordial in appearance, very dissimilar to the manicured plant life here in the Crane province of Kishou. Which one of you is leading in this desperate ride across the Doji or the Doji Plains?
It's AKUME. She is not the swiftest on a horse, nor is she the best rider. But she knows where they're going, even if she's never been there before. She can feel the pull of it. It is dark. It is empty, but it is strangely strong. It tells her where they're going, and so she rides.
And who follows behind AKUME, seemingly driven by some innate spiritual guidance?
I guess then probably AKODO. He doesn't want the Shugenja to get too far ahead, just in case she happens to actually find this Oni that they're searching for. He doesn't think that this is going to be simply a matter that the kami will be able to handle.
And who rides third in rank?
MOTO CHEN rides third. And actually, as he's riding, he looks toward the horse of Hokkaido and kind of examines its form, examines its breed, and asks the rider atop, "Where did you find such a nice horse?"
It was given to me. It was
by the crab or the lion?
This was a crab horse. I had a lion horse once, but like my brother, he did not survive.
The bravest never do. And he looks almost solemnly down at his own horse in this moment. But he follows, making conversation in passing as they go, just alleviating some tension that might be in the air.
Bringing up the rear is MITSUKAGE.
He's like timing it to think at what hour that man would have died, trying to figure out exactly, just for future reference, to think like usually it takes this many hours. And so he would have like marked that with like a sort of nod to himself. He also hears this conversation about horses, and he doesn't know anything about this horse beneath him. It's just a horse. They're all just horses, tools, things that get you from another place to another place. And so he never like gets attached to things like that. He's doing his best to like look behind him every now and then, and if he can, like sprinkle something behind, like dust or something, or like drag branches behind the horse to like cover any tracks. Just things he would like do by muscle memory.
The four of you ride as you have been for several days at this point, resting little when you need to, but otherwise staying on the move. And now seeing the old wood in front of you materialize, it's real, seeing it, you're taken by a sense that is equal parts relief and fear. Seeing your destination, your objective ahead of you, instills in you this need to go further, but also a hesitance because you know what lies at the heart of that old wood. You know what is waiting for you. AKUME, as you round a corner, as these roads sort of wind their way through the green hills of Kishou, your horse suddenly rears up on its hind legs as an arrow lands right in front of it, sort of inches away from its front hooves. The horse rears and you're almost thrown from the saddle, but you maintain your grip. And as your horse comes back down into a sudden stop, you see that the arrow came from the Yumi of someone standing atop the hill, and he is soon joined by a handful of others. You see that they are garbed in light blue armor, bearing the mon of the Crab Clan. The leader of them, he is bald and crag-faced, maybe in his 40s or his 50s, but he's fit. He has an athletic build. He comes forward, drawing another arrow from his hip quiver and expertly setting it to the string, not drawing it back, but having it ready. And he steps forward and addresses you, AKUME, and says, "By whose orders do you ride down these roads? Speak quickly."
We come with the permission and the blessing of Governor Kakita Kaiten.
When you say that, he draws back on the arrow. "Then you are Crane allies."
Wait!
He stays his hand. As he sees the others pull up, he motions, and four more scouts behind him put arrow to bow as you all come around the corner on horseback.
The authority that we ride by is not by any governor, but by these gals.
Gavels. These are not badges I'm familiar with.
This guy will like visibly roll his eyes like country bumpkin idiots, and wants to make a show of that so that they understand how displeased he is at being stopped and halted. Jade Gavels.
Jade Gavels, then you are... And another voice would speak from behind the hill. "They're Jade Magistrates." And you would see the large hulking form of Hida Hitomi, Tetsubo on her back, step into view, and she pushes the scout aside. "They're Jade Magistrates, you idiot." She would come forward. "It is good to see you four again, though I wish we were meeting under different circumstances."
HOKAIDEN kind of rides up and sees the situation and removes his hand from his sword when he sees Hitome, and he kind of gives a curt nod. "It is good to see you as well, though I think you will not get as much practice at Go being out here."
Believe me, I'd much rather be back in the Iron Kettle. The four of you ride hard. Your horses look tired. Where do you go with such haste?
We ride to stop this blight. Or to try. Where do you go?
On orders from my champion, we're securing these roads, trying to gain a foothold here in Kishou. The trade roads are vital for us. Vital to the Caillou Wall. And yet the Crane attack our caravans. I'm doing what I must.
We spoke with some of the Crane. They would hardly listen to reason.
For what it's worth, neither are the Crab. And the scout behind her would kind of, you see him glowering. This war is a waste of time. It's a distraction. I know as well as you four do that there's something else at work here. Something else turning us against each other. Do you have the means to stop it?
I think unwittingly, Hokaiden's eyes kind of drift over to MITSUKAGE.
Yeah, I guess he would like look and think like, do we tell these people we have this like insane magical blade? And he would look and say, we are prepared, we are informed, and we do not like being delayed.
We are prepared. We are informed. All you see is Moto Chen go and then immediately correct himself.
We have the ability to defeat what we seek. However, it is possible that it has grown in power, gathered allies. There may be more waiting for us than we are prepared for.
The biggest danger any of us face is the pride of men who will not see reason and commit war upon each other for no reason. We are well equipped to deal with what we must do. And every moment that we tarry here is a moment that
And
is
the
wasted.
pride of men who would not ask for assistance, who would think they are too prepared to need it.
You have horses, all of you? MITSUKAGE will ask the Crab.
Hitomi would look back at the scout and then nod. We do.
Do you wish to help us?
I do. Though I doubt my men would be so willingly to charge into battle with you. I, however, have seen the same things you have. I know what lurks in the old wood. The scout would come forward. We have orders from the champion himself. We cannot deviate from them. Hitomi would hold up a hand. You would do well to remember who is in charge here, Yori. He would bow his head in respect.
What were your orders, Yori?
My orders were to follow the commands Commander Hida Hitomi.
He'll just like that. That's clear.
Hitomi would kind of smirk and kind of nod to you, MITSUKAGE, just kind of like, thanks for the assist. And she would look at Yori and say, my orders are that we assist these four. They are Jade Magistrates, and their duties supersede the petty squabbles of our clans. The war will still be raging tomorrow morning. However, what waits in the old wood may not be. We will ride with you into the old wood. May we find either death or glory in abundance when we do. She would turn to Yori. Mount up the rest. We ride now. The Crab, there's about a dozen of them altogether. Most of them lightly armored scouts, but there's a few heavier armored samurai along with Hida Hitomi. They mount up on their horses, all flying the banners with the Mon of the Crab splashed across them. You see that these men are bloodied and battered, soot upon their faces. They've clearly seen combat over the last couple of days, but they nevertheless mount up and ride alongside you as you continue down the rough trade road into the old wood. As you're riding, Hitomi would catch up with you, HOKAIDEN, riding alongside you. And though it is tough to hear at this near gallop that you're at, she would still speak to you in confidence. I'm taking great risk bringing my men along with me. I will likely face discipline when I return to the Caillou Wall from my champion for disobeying orders.
Okay.
You understand, then, the risk that me and my men take here?
I do. It is greater to risk possible dishonor and loss of life than to give way to the darkness. We know this. We have been trained thus, both you and I, Crab and Lion.
We have both faced great horrors beyond the Caillou Wall, and it troubles me greatly that those horrors have bled here in the north. We will fight to the last beside you, HOKAIDEN, little lion.
And you, wounded Crab. I know that this battle stems from a very personal loss for you. May you find peace.
I have already found peace. Now, I seek only glory, retribution, honor for my name and my clan.
Then to glory and honor.
To glory and honor. She would pat her Tetsubo and spur her horse to go a little faster. The four of you, along with the dozen or so crab samurai, break through the tree line. It's jarring, the change that you experience as you enter the old wood. There is a strange stone road lined with toro, these stone lanterns. This road seems to lead deep into this primordial forest, seemingly going up at all times. The road is wide enough for horses, and so you're able to stay mounted as you ride along the road, their hooves clapping against the stone. This forest possesses an almost alien beauty. There are strange crumbling structures everywhere, overtaken by plant life. Moss covers every surface. And the sunlight that filters through the dense canopy takes on this odd green-gold hue. Pollen floats on the air, and it almost appears to glow in this green-gold light. Eventually, though, as you ride hard deep into the forest, the shadows begin to deepen. The ground seems to darken around you, and there is an overwhelming stench of rot and decay that fills your nostrils. You feel as though you are being watched. An uncanny feeling rises the hair on the back of your necks and on your arms. AKUME, your sixth sense is afire with sights and smells and sounds, things that you're not sure are there or not. Rustling bushes, voices, whispers, strange hulking shapes moving just beyond the darkness of the tree line on either side of the road. Who is carrying the crystal katana currently?
So I think it was me that got it, like that was handed it. But I would have given it to HOKAIDEN at my earliest convenience. But we could do that now, maybe. Maybe like now as we see this place and like I start to feel, I'm sure even like someone who's not magical will get a feel for something. sort of incorrect about this place. Mitsukage was pull up his horse next to Hokaiden.
Yes, Mr. Cookie.
You should have the sword.
His brow kind of furrows in confusion. It was not given to me.
No, I know that. You're the most closest thing here that we have amongst us. You really follow Bushido. You should have the sword.
Man, that took you a while to compliment someone. Eh, Mitsukage?
It's not traditional in the school that I'm from. Criticism more useful.
Hokaiden will kind of look unsure. You know, accepting this sword would be dishonest. So he's having a difficult time with it. So he kind of screws his face up a little. I am not comfortable with this, but
You are most skilled with the sword. You are most skilled, therefore you should have it. Whatever is our best chance for victory, and I think that is you.
for the greater good then. And he kind of looks over at Hitomi, where he just gave her this speech about, even at the dispense of honor, you know, that this needs to be done. And as he kind of runs through that admonishment himself, he'll finally just nod and hold his hand out.
Yeah, with no ceremony whatsoever, he will hand you the sword. Like, it's this amazing thing that really it should be like a whole ceremony where, you know, like it's like passed to you in sort of the correct way, and there's bowing, and he just like takes it from the saddlebag and like puts it into your hand.
I think like from where we've been riding through these like wetlands, there's probably like some mud like on the scabbard, and he kind of looks at it kind of disapprovingly, and then kind of starts trying to wipe it off of the scabbard.
As you take out the crystal katana, Mitsukage, you feel this strange kind of vibration in the blade, and you hand it over to Hokaiden. And Hokaiden, as you're kind of brushing the scabbard off, you feel this vibration too, and you can almost hear kind of like a humming coming from the blade within the scabbard.
I have heard tales before of a blade that sings, but until now I have never seen it myself.
Hida Hitomi is watching this exchange. Is that what I think it is?
It is a crystal katana. It belongs to the Kikida family.
There's like a collective sort of intake of breath from the crab as you say that it's a crystal katana. Then you were not lying when you said you had something to defeat the Oni. This is good. You continue riding through the old wood. The trees, again, seeming to close around you, the shadows deepening the further you get, the higher up you trek. And it's not long before the sounds of battle reach your ears. There are cries and grunts, the sound of steel clashing against something, armor, maybe. And as you round the corner, you all see a strange sight, probably not something you were expecting to see. There is a large, hulking, monstrous-looking figure, not dressed in anything except a loincloth. This creature is maybe 7 feet tall, though its slouch brings it closer to 6 feet tall. This creature has green mottled skin and tusks coming up from its sort of underslung jaw. Those of you who know of such things would know that this is a troll. Except this troll is wielding a strange broad-bladed sword that has metal rings along its spine. And it is wielding this sword against a group of gigantic black spiders. These spiders are the size of your horses. They clamber across this clearing, striking out at this troll. You see the troll is doing its best to defend itself, parrying here, parrying there, getting in a strike with this sword. But you see, too, that every time the spiders strike, there are bite marks on the troll's skin, and they begin weeping blood. The troll, wielding the sword, kind of backs up into a defensive stance, holding the blade as a samurai would, practiced, precise, not like the trolls that you know. And as the spiders circle around it, it holds the blade aloft and prepares to die fighting. What do the four of you do?
How far is this?
You're within bow range, range 4.
Hang on, I'm looking through all my list of stuff. I would like to, use my sense the kami ability to detect spirits and uses of magic within up to 2 range bands. I think that's bow range, but I'm not sure.
Bow range is range 4.
Ah, dang it. Okay, too far. Oh, plus equal to the ring you use plus bonus successes. So I might be able to do it if I roll well.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. I gotta get up my other sheet that tells me how much I roll. Okay. Barker, which dice are the ring dice?
The D12s, I think. Wait. D20. Listen, it's one of the two. Flip a coin for it. Ring, dice, that's 2 different things. I don't understand the question.
Okay. Oh yeah. So it's a T&1 check. So if I don't make this, I'm just terrible. Oh yeah. I should have no problem getting to that 4th range band. I've got at least 1, 2. Yeah, I've got at least 2 successes and an exploding success and an opportunity.
Yeah, and remember, you keep as many as you have in the ring.
Right, because I get to keep 3. So
with that exploding success, you might be able to make it work.
Yeah. So I'll reroll that one. So that gets me bands equal to the ring you used plus your bonus successes. So my ring was 3, and I had 3 successes, which I needed 1. So now I'm up to band range 5.
Perfect. So now you're able to do it up to that range. Yeah.
Okay.
Great. So what specifically are you looking to sense or find out here?
It doesn't act like a troll. Does it feel like one?
It does, but it feels... Reaching out to this creature, you get a sense that it is very, very old. This troll appears ancient.
Yeah, I think kind of AKUME closes her eyes, and she was using her void ring to do this. So she has one of the rings on her fingers, and she kind of spins it, and it gives off this dull black glow. And she closes her eyes for a moment, and when she opens them again, she would look at this troll that is a bow shot away and fighting, shake her head. It is very, very old. An ancient creature. What has driven it out of hiding? Who can say?
Trolls eat people, do they not? I assume. I know nothing about them.
Look at how it fights.
Do trolls eat people in this setting? I actually don't know.
They do. Like, the trolls are like fairly barbaric and brutish, but anyone who has studied them knows that they were not always that way.
It might. Or it could be old enough to be beyond that, before that time.
As you're sitting here sort of debating what to do, a few of the spiders kind of look over and obviously take notice of you and begin crawling towards you, their legs just pounding on the ground, moving blindingly fast towards you. And as that happens, Hitomi says, "This is a fun conversation, but it looks like we need to defend ourselves." And she would rear back on her horse and shout orders to the scouts, telling them to take to the trees with their bows as battle commences. Let's go ahead and roll for initiative. You guys are obviously prepared, so this is going to be focus. Remember, it's TN1 tactics, and let me know how many bonus successes you get. And add it to your focus and all that. You guys know how it works. Parker goes, kinda.
Yeah, I'm not always entirely sure which dice to roll, so that's the most basic rule in the game.
Now, is this the same thing? We don't stop counting with the number of ring dice or the ring rank that we have, right? For this?
No, it's still a pool, so you still have to choose
Okay.
which ones to keep. Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
And then add that to your focus, Parker, your successes. There you go. There you go. Okay, cool. So MITSUKAGE is first, and then AKUME, and then HOKAIDEN, and then Hitomi plus scouts, and then CHEN, and then the spiders. I only rolled one success with the spiders, so there you go. Oh, thank you, Lloyd. You the best. Okay, so before we get too far into combat here, we had some opportunities to spend on the tactics check. Is there anything you guys in particular would want to do with that opportunity before battle commences here, based on the stances that you chose? Looks like Barker got some opportunity and Taylor got some opportunity.
No, Taylor, go ahead and go first, and I'll just copy you. No, but really.
I'll have what she's having.
Thanks, Parker. I'm not at all frantically scrolling through this PDF trying to figure it out. Remind me what opportunity does for initiative. I can't even
So
find that.
it is affecting the tactics check in particular.
Mhm.
So which stance did you roll with?
Void.
Void. Okay, so you can with one, you can detect a sign of the supernatural if there is a spiritual disturbance in the scene. That's something you can do with Void. You can also I have a thing here.
I'll just go with that. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that giant spiders aren't natural, but we'll just get a feel for whether or not.
I'll let you kind of learn something about these things. So this is probably something that you have never encountered before, these giant spiders, but you may be familiar with them as creatures because they are otherworldly creatures. Oddly enough, they don't come from the same place that Oni do. They don't come from the realm of Jigoku, which is like the evil realm. They come from this sort of primal bestial plane, and they are creatures that are known as Kumo. They are clever spiders. They actually like have a culture and they can communicate with each other and have somewhat of a civilization in their other realm. So if there are creatures here from other planes, other realms, clearly there is something otherworldly happening here beyond just the Shadowlands seeping here. Lloyd says, thanks, I hate it. So you guys are facing off against hyper-intelligent spiders. Barker, anything you want to do with your opportunity? Which stance did you pick?
So I picked the Earth stance. And am I on the right page when I chose page, I think it's 28 of the book?
I think so, yeah. So you can, some of the things you can do with Earth, you can reduce another person's strife, doesn't really apply here. Recall an important piece of information not directly related to the task. Act to minimize consequences or failure of other dangers that could have arise from this task, which doesn't really apply here since you're just rolling for tactics.
I would love to, if it applies, to recall a piece of history of people or objects or something out of lore that I could conjure to mind with my 3 advantage.
Yeah, so maybe you recall like a famous battle in Unicorn history, because like the Unicorn have only been in Rokugan again for like a few centuries at this point. They were wandering the world for like a millennia, just like learning what they could, like seeking the shadow across the world. And maybe there are records in like Unicorn lore of Unicorn warriors facing off against these Kumo, the spiders. And maybe you remember that they fell easily to the Unicorn warhorses with spears.
Nice.
They punctured right through the hardened carapace of their exoskeleton.
If I could conjure up not a memory, but a vision that I always treat as a memory. My grandfather fighting in a battle alongside Moto Chagatai, the leader of the Unicorn, fighting against these spiders. And it's a spider itself that strikes my grandfather down, gives him his mortal wound. But leading up to the point, you see this cavalry of Unicorn samurai just plow through these spiders, and like you said, with these not lances per se, but this cavalry charge is decimating of them. And this vision conjures to Chen. It's not a memory. He wasn't there. He was barely living when this occurred. The only thing he knows about his grandfather is he carries his armor on this horse. But he knew that was taught to him, and he has this vision and prepares himself.
Perfect. All right, so first up in the initiative is Mitsukage. So Mitsukage, there are 3 of these spiders, these horse-sized spiders that are charging towards your ranks. What would you like to do?
Flee. I think I'm still on my horse, so I will definitely move as far away from them as possible. I'll probably fire my bow first, and then I will ride as fast as it's possible for me to go.
Absolutely.
Away from these hideous creatures. All right.
Pick your stance.
Always air, basically all the time.
Always air.
Actually, I might go fire. I feel like he's kind of freaking out a little bit. and air is very controlled. I'm gonna go fire.
Okay, cool.
Ooh. Okay, you have to remind me about these symbols here. The circle of success.
Correct.
The 3 little tadpoles. That's a
That is
advantage?
that is an exploding success.
okay. Sick. All right.
Opportunity is the like big splash.
All right. So then I got 3 successes and 2 strife.
Okay.
And okay, so I'm using my Yumi, which is damage 5, deadliness 4, so 3 successes, 2 strife. Oh, strife is good with fire, right?
Yeah, strife gives you bonus successes with fire. You still accrue the strife, but it gives you the added benefit of
okay, so fire. Oh, sweet. Okay, so then I'll take the 2 strife, but then it will be 5 successes because of the bonus strife. So it's and bonus successes equate to damage.
They do. They add on to your damage. So it's a TN2 check. So anything beyond 2 successes is a bonus success that adds to your damage.
So then 8 damage. Deadliness 4.
Okay. These things have physical 2, so that brings it down to 6, which is still enough to take one of them out. Go ahead and describe how you take out the first like lead spider that's charging towards you.
He was like trying his best to keep it together, and he like pulls out the Yumi, and as they're like hideously skittering across, he's gonna like pull back and breathe and like wait for one of them to like do that awful thing spiders do where they like rear up and go, and that's when he like looses it, and it'll catch it like right between the mandibles and out through the other side, with spider brains firing it behind it. And once that's done, he's gonna like grab his bow and immediately turn his horse and go as far away from here as possible.
Awesome. Yeah, you're able to, charge down the road, galloping out of. I imagine you probably get to volley range by the time you stop moving. Cool. All right, that was Mitsukage. So AKUME, you are up.
So AKUME sees these creatures and she knows they are very, very intelligent, and that they should not be here. And she takes her small knife, the keen blade, and she cuts off a small bit of hair, and she blows it into the wind as an offering to the air kami. And I'm going to try and do an invocation that I don't know. Because again, I've been reading. I'm pretty sure I can do that if the kami accept the offering.
Oh, and is that just something that I, as the GM, determine if they do or not?
It is. Invocations, page 189. I think is it in the sidebar?
If it's important, it's probably in the sidebar. Okay.
Yeah, here it's the green box. Importune
invocations. Okay,
Yeah.
the kami can sometimes be controlled to do extraordinary things. This is known as importuning an invocation, and allows characters to perform invocations they could not normally. Once per scene, a character who knows one or more invocation techniques may choose one invocation technique that they have not learned, and make an offering to the kami responsible for that power. The offering must be something interesting to the kami and valuable to the character. Whether or not something is sufficiently important is left to the GM's discretion. Boom. Okay, but generally the item should at least be rare, if not unique. The item is lost forever as the kami absconds with it. If the GM determines that the kami is satisfied with this offering, the character may perform the action associated with that technique. However, the TN is increased by 1 + 1 for each school rank by which the prerequisite exceeds the character's current school rank. The character may channel this invocation as usual. Okay, so what rank of technique are you trying to invoke here? 1. Oh, okay. Perfect. So the TN still increases by 1 because there's a base increase of 1 just because you don't know it. But I will say that you cut off a piece of your hair. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And you offer it into the wind. So there's this kind of like this gust of wind, and you've been like smelling this kind of smell of like rot, and it's not like forest rot, that kind of like sickly sweet kind of mildewy smell. Like it smells like it smells like decomp in this forest just the entire time you're in here. It's just awful. But there's this gust of wind that kind of blows past you, and it's cool and it's crisp, and you smell the Doji plains, you smell the rice paddies, you smell the barley fields, you smell the wet grass and the streams that run through the beautiful province of Kishou, and you feel the presence of the kami of air here, just touching just a little as it kind of floats by, even in this forsaken place, overcome with blight. And you are able to cast this invocation that you are not normally able to do.
Okay, it is the invocation called Nature's Touch. So I'm going to make now it's a TN2 theology error because it was TN1.
Correct, yes.
Yep. Okay. So I'll keep, now it's 2 successes. And that one exploded.
And it exploded.
Ooh, and an opportunity. Perfect. That is actually exactly what I was hoping for.
Cool.
So I did gain 1 strife in the midst of that. So I've made my check, and with my opportunity, one of the suggested opportunities for this one is until the end of the scene, I can understand the animal's speech. I also gain the ability to speak to them.
Oh my god.
So this is for any animal now. I do believe I gain the ability to speak to the animals of the natural world.
That's pretty amazing. Okay, so what are spiders talking about? They're
I don't know. Spider voices.
So as you sort of cast this invocation and you're able to discern what the spiders are talking about, I imagine that it's not like you hear them like, Ron, go over there, get them. Like, but you're able to discern like what their sort of chattering noises imply, what they mean. You get the feeling and the emotion from it. These spiders are, they're mad. They're cunning, they're clever, but there's something that is clouding their minds, and they're almost enraged. And you get the sense that these things have been afflicted by the taint, much like mortals can be. These are creatures who have given themselves over to the shadow and have willingly become servants of Jigoku, the realm of evil, in exchange for some sort of power, some sort of ability. They are coordinating with each other. They're strategizing, but ultimately they're essentially just saying, kill them, kill them, kill them.
Yasha is, I think, kind of overwhelmed for a moment with this rush of information as it comes to her mind and to her ears. And she'll keep it to herself for the moment, as Phoenix are wont to do.
Perfect. All right. That was AKUME. It is now Hokaiden's turn.
Haiden sees these things kind of rushing at him, and he swings out of his saddle to plant his feet firmly on the ground. And instead of reaching for his katana to pull it from his daisho, instead his eyes drift to a bundle on the back of his horse, which he very quickly kind of reaches over and throws the cover off of and grabs a hold of this tetsubo that he's been carrying around and pulls it, hefting the weight of it not only in his hands, but also you can see that he's hefting another kind of weight, a weight on his soul, because this is no ordinary weapon. This weapon has a history in Hokaiden's life. And he turns to face whichever of these spiders is going to close with him first. And I don't know if there's an equivalent of readying an action, but that's what I would like to try to do.
Yeah, there is. There's the wait action, which basically works exactly like holding an action in D&D. You basically say what the trigger is, and then that happens when it happens. So you're basically saying when a spider gets in range, I want to hit it with my tetsubo.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. Noted. Okay. That was Hokaiden. Hitomi and the scouts get to go. Hitomi is going to go into guard stance, do earth, and do a guard action, which will increase the TN of strikes made against her. The scouts will loose a volley at the spiders. It's 1 success, 2 opportunity. So they do not hit. Volley of arrows comes out of the trees, and they strike all over, but don't actually do any damage to these spiders. A few of the arrows kind of like knock off the carapace, the like hardened exoskeleton of these creatures. But with their opportunity, what can you do with air with opportunity? Not much. Okay, that's fine. All right, Chen, you're up, man.
Chen has only one choice here, given his vision / memory jolts him back to reality. Ha! And the horse begins to charge forward. He pulls his katana out of its sheath and rides toward the nearest spider. And as he approaches it, he's going to attempt to lean to the side, kind of off the side of his horse, cutting through it, attempting to cut it in half.
Awesome.
And I can just roll for that, right? That's the thing. If you had said you need to make a fitness roll because that's a little extra ability there, I would say actually it could be survival because mounts and riding allows you to do that. But
really,
it does on 326.
Look who's been reading up.
Yeah, the past 6 minutes has been very informative, Taylor.
I do while you guys are having your turns.
And melee. All right, so I'm going to roll for this. Okay, so I have 1 success, 1 strife, 3 advertunity.
So the 1 success is not enough to deal any damage, but you have an opportunity that you can use if you so wish.
Can I cut off like 1 or 2 of this thing's legs, or maybe it flips on its back and it might take some time to flip back over?
Sure, I'll let you do that. Yeah,
great. And I'm going to start circling back around. He's not going to last a second cavalry charge.
Yeah, I can see it. You like charging up to this spider and just cutting with your katana, and it kind of topples onto its side, and then you rear your horse around, getting ready for another pass. All right, it is the spider's turn. There is only one that is charging towards you. It now moves into range of you, Hokaiden, and you are able to use your wait action.
Sweet. All right. I am going to, having stood my ground and waited until this thing came to me, rooted in place. As soon as it comes within range, I'm going to step forward and bring this thing, this massive club, up and down onto this thing's back with any luck. So I am making a martial arts melee, which is a 2. Using earth, which is a 3, but I'm also doing striking as earth. So let's see. Ooh, all right. Okay. So that's 2 successes. 1 of them exploded. Okay, so that's 3 successes and an. Okay, wait. Oh, wow. Hold on. I exploded too. Holy shit. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes, 1 strife, and an advantage, which I can treat my which I can treat my physical resistance as 1 higher per advantage spent this way until the beginning of my next turn.
Perfect. Awesome.
So let's see, that was 5 successes. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 successes.
Cool. And it's TN2, so that's 3 bonus successes on top of whatever damage you're dealing with the Tetsubo.
Okay, so that's 10 damage.
God damn. So that spider's dead. Go ahead and describe it.
So yeah, he's been standing there waiting, holding his ground, kind of tensing his knuckles on this Tetsubo, waiting for the right moment. And as soon as the spider comes within distance, he makes almost like this kind of lunging strike where he kind of leaps forward with both feet and brings this Tetsubo down straight on the middle of this thing's thorax. And the thing just like collapses underneath and legs like snap free. And there's like juice just everywhere.
And its legs continue twitching for several moments after you've just splattered it across the clearing. All right, the third spider rights itself and is going to lash out at you, Chen, since you're closest to it. Let me bring up. Keep losing the stat block because I keep scrolling to look at other stuff. Yo, where are you at?
And you're going to be rolling against my...
So I'm just going to roll. I'm going to roll to hit. It's TN2, and then you get to resist with your armor and then with fatigue. Oh, here we go. Okay. All right.
Got it.
So he's in fire stance. So that's going to be 3 and 1. That's 2 successes and an opportunity. Okay. So that's going to be a hit. That'll be 4 damage. So go ahead and, I don't know what armor you're wearing, Chen, but you'll reduce the damage by the physical resistance of your armor. And then the rest you'll burn with fatigue.
Got it.
And I can spend this opportunity. Ooh. What does that do? Oh, damn. Okay, so Chen, I'm going to spend opportunity to give you the bleeding condition, which means until you are healed with a medicine earth check, you now take damage equal to the strife on all of your rolls. So this spider kind of rears up on you and kind of latches onto you, and you feel fangs puncture in between the seams of your armor, and you feel warm blood pooling beneath your armor, spilling out. All right. So these things can do something. They're not just here to die, so that's good. All right. We're back at the top of the initiative with Mitsukage. So Mitsukage, you're a fair bit away, but you can still see the battle from where you are. It looks like there is 1 spider remaining, at least that you can see, that just kind of punctured the armor of Chen.
Yeah, being as far away as possible, but still being able to see what's going on is really my whole deal. So he's going to like ride back and forth a little bit and try and get a good angle, and just going to fire an arrow at the spider. Do you think that it can see me, or it's aware of me, or do you think it's not?
I imagine that it is probably not aware of you at this point. It has its back to you, and it's fully focused on bringing Chen to the ground.
I'll rub my hands together eagerly, because that means I get 2 more damage. So I rolled already. Got 3 successes, 2 strife, and 2 upper vena tunities. It's getting longer every time. So because of my path of shadows, I increased the deadliness and damage by my school rank, which is 1. So I got 3 successes, plus 5, plus 1, 9 total, minus 2 for the spider's toughness is 7.
Damn, you even factored in the resistance for me?
Yes, sir.
That's very nice. That is enough to kill this spider. Go ahead and describe it.
Yeah, so he has the luxury of like aiming calmly because he's so far away. He doesn't have to like stress, and so he's able to like really like think about it. And when he like finds this moment, he just and it flies through the air without any issue. Probably like flies right by one of the other people, like right by their ear, and they think they're done for, but just smashes into the spider, one of the eyes. Yeah, and he'll start moving his way back towards them.
Perfect. Okay. AKUME, you are up. You see the third spider that was charging towards you fall. You do see that there are 3 more spiders currently engaged with the troll on the other side of the clearing. The troll is backed up against a tree and is barely defending itself against these 3 spiders. And you also see that CHEN appears to be bleeding fairly profusely. There's like a wet kind of slick of blood going down the side of his horse, staining its fur or its hide. What do horses have? Horses don't have fur, do they? What is it?
I wouldn't say fur. Yeah,
The hide, just hide, horse hide.
Horse hair, flank.
here.
I guess hair's like I guess it is hair, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway, there's
When you say flank, I think of meat.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
blood going down the side of the horse, and the horse doesn't appear injured, so it's clear that CHEN is fairly gravely injured.
Okay, so the 3 that were had broken off towards us are taken care of.
They all fell fairly quickly.
Okay, then she will ride forwards towards CHEN and see if she can staunch his bleeding. I don't have any proficiency in medicine, but I'm gonna take another strike for that. Shoot.
When you approach him, he doesn't even realize he's bleeding either. He's just kind of like, so the adrenaline's keeping him up, and he doesn't even realize what you're doing. But he looks down and sees it.
Oh, now it's TN2.
TN2, yep.
I can spend a void point though, can't I?
You sure can. Yep, you can
Nothing
spend a
can
void
stop
point
you.
to
Don't worry about it.
Add an additional ring die to your check, and you can also keep an additional die.
Okay. I will. Dang it. If I can find another ring die. I'll add another one to my check. And it's another success. Okay, that's good. So yeah, she'll stop his bleeding as best she can. CHEN, hold
How does that
still.
look? Okay. Is it magical?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's what an earth check.
He's wearing
yeah,
some armor. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, maybe she like has this little pouch. It's like a mix of dirt and herbs, and it looks like it would not be helpful at all. But she like begins to pat it, and it just sifts down through your armor. And then when it hits your skin, it begins to heal up a little, and you see her earth ring glow.
So you no longer have the bleeding condition, CHEN.
Sweet. That's a character line. That's what he says.
That's what he says. All right. Yeah, they say herb. Like
The H.
yeah. Oh, like Uncle Herb. Hey, Herb. How's
You
it
and
going?
your Edinburghs. Give me a break.
Not
You know he's
Edinburgh.
Irish, not Scottish.
Yeah, you can't get after us about pronunciation, man.
It doesn't matter. How do you pronounce Edinburgh, Lloyd?
Edinburgh.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
The correct way.
Yeah, the hard G is silent.
Can we continue sidelining your game so we can discuss our accents?
God.
Sorry.
RG is silent. Oh my god. Okay. That was AKUME. HOKAIDEN, you are up.
I think HOKAIDEN is has already tore off back to his horse and is throwing himself up into the saddle and is kneeing this thing forward. Yeah, and he's riding off as fast as he can towards where the rest of these spiders are. And if he's able to get close enough, he's gonna. Well, no, I don't think swinging a Tetsuo one-handed on a horse is probably a good idea. It's like polo, but I don't know if it's gonna work.
You try it. That seems like a very crab thing to do.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. All right. So, what kind of adjustments do I need to make to my roll, if any? swinging one-handed.
I'm checking right now.
Or if maybe it just increases the
Oh, no.
TN.
Here we go. So if you...
I'm going to use water so that I can make sure to close the distance. I think that makes sense.
Man, I'm not sure. Let's see.
I'm just going to roll it up and you can tell me if it's sexy enough to work or not.
Yep, sounds good. Let's do that.
All right. Hey, okay.
Why don't we'll just increase the TN by 1. That's going to be like my go-to, like, let's make it a little harder. So it's TN3 now.
Okay, that makes good sense. All right, so keep those. This one exploded. That's 1 strife. 2 successes. Okay, so that is 2 strife, 1, 2, 3 successes, and an opera vanity.
3 successes, though. That's good.
Excellent. Okay. And the TN was 3, so there's no bonus.
No bonuses. You'll just do base damage.
So it's straight up hardcore Tetsubo, which is 7.
God damn.
These things are brutal.
Yeah, they do a lot of damage. Even with the resistance, that'll kill the spider.
Yeah, so I think he comes riding up and literally just rides like right past where these spiders are attacking this troll, kind of on the other side of the spider, and just swings down, almost lets the Tetsubo just do the work for him, and just, crushes this thing from the side and rolling it over and continuing to ride right past.
Yeah, you just use the momentum of your horse and the weight of this Tetsubo, and you just wail on this spider, and it goes past. And you kind of, as you ride past, the troll standing there with its sword kind of catches your eye, and you almost see it kind of like nod to you, like nod in thanks, which is a very peculiar sort of experience for you, seeing this like tusked, monstrous-looking creature give you a kind of curt nod, and then it swings its sword and again defends itself against the spider. Hitomi and the scouts get to go. Yeah, the troll goes, hey, good job. Scouts are going to fire some arrows. Oh, they actually get to do some damage. That's 1, 2, 3, plus the Yumi is 5, resistance 2, so that's enough to take out another spider. There's 1 spider left. Chen, you are up.
Chen looks down at his flank and he sees his armor is actually glowing hot where he was healed just a moment before by AKUME. And that lightens up and he feels breath where before he was struggling to draw it. He feels blood where before he was feeling pins and needles in his face. And he looks at her for a moment and he gathers himself, winks, and then again charges directly toward the last spider that attacked him, if it's still up.
Yeah, there's just the 1 left.
Yep, he's going for it. And I no longer take bleeding damage from the strife. So I've got 3 successes and a strife. 3 successes, baby.
So that'll be 1 bonus damage for you on top of your regular damage.
Katana's damage, which I'm flipping to right now, but I'm sure people...
Isn't it?
Yeah.
4?
Katana is 4.
Yep.
Thank you. 5 damage total.
Okay, it resists 2 of that.
Definitely is 5. I don't know if that matters.
No, that matters in the critical strike. This thing has endurance 4, so that's not quite enough to kill that spider. I finally did one-shot one of them. So the spider is still standing, though you hacked one of its legs off as you went past on your horse. It's like, starts screeching and spewing blood. Okay. Keep losing my initiative. There we go. Oh, it's the spider's turn.
It's because we won't shut up.
Nah. All right. The spider lashing out at HOKAIDEN as he rides past. Ooh. So I could keep 3 of those. I'm going to keep the 3 successes. So that is going to be 4 damage with a bonus success. So 5 damage. HOKAIDEN. And I don't have opportunity to spend on inflicting the bleeding condition on you.
Shucks.
Ah, darn.
I have a physical resistance of 4. I do not still have Strike of Earth active, so that will have 1 point that bleeds through then.
Yeah, 1 point that bleeds through. Yep. Okay, back at the top of the initiative with Mitsukage. There is 1 spider left. You see that it's injured Mitsukage, and it is sort of lashing out at HOKAIDEN as he rides past on his horse.
Okay, so as I'm like riding towards them, I will try and fire another arrow at it. Coming back into view, I guess, now that the danger is mostly out of the way. 1, just 1, huh? That's no good. Okay, yeah, so that's like, I got 3 blank faces on 4 dice.
Oh, damn.
Yep. So he's galloping, but the horse unexpectedly like moves in a way he's not expecting, and the arrow just goes off in a different direction. He pretends like that didn't happen and continues to like ride towards.
You're like, yeah, there was another spider over there. I killed it before you guys even saw it. AKUME, you're up.
And so there's just the 1 left now. AKUME will wait. She will kind of ready an invocation. And she's watching this troll to see what it does. But the Phoenix are not a warring people. She will not attack it unprovoked.
Oh, so you're not going to attack the spider?
No, there's just 1 spider left. I think they're probably fine.
Yeah, you're like, nah, you guys got it.
Yeah.
HOKAIDEN, you're up.
So HOKAIDEN rode past, getting struck by the spider as it kind of lashed out, the secondary one. He kind of slows his horse, brings it to a slow down, and then pulls it to bring it around. And then he charges right back at this other one that just struck him. And he is not afraid to attack it. He is not a phoenix by any stretch of the imagination. He will ride straight up. He is a crab lion, exactly. He's going to ride straight up to this other one. I wonder. I'm going to actually see if the horse will stampede it. Just going to have the horse just ride straight over it.
Yeah, we can do that. I have a horse stat block right here. Yeah, it can do a hoof attack. You want to roll it, Jeremy?
Yeah, sure.
So it doesn't have any martial skill.
Okay, so it's just ring dice?
Yeah, just ring dice. What ring do you imagine it's using? It has good earth, water, and fire stances.
I was thinking either water or fire. Water because it's movement based.
Yeah.
With speed.
With water, you'd be rolling 3.
Okay, cool. So 3 black dice, Barker. Oh, you gotta be okay. There we go. All right, that's an exploding success. Okay, so 1 success, 2 upper vanities, and 1 strife.
Just 1 success?
Yeah.
So not enough to hit. And it doesn't really have any opportunities. But your horse kind of rears up and its hooves kind of clatter against the carapace of this thing and kind of back it up into the corner. The spider kind of dragging itself, one of its legs hacked off by CHEN. It's sort of dragging itself backwards, trying to retreat, it seems like. All right. Tomi and the scouts get to go. Let's see if they can finish this spider off.
Sounds like a band.
Holy shit! I just rolled 3 exploding successes. 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So the scouts loose a volley of arrows at Hitomi's orders, and the arrows, 3 or 4 of these arrows kind of puncture the carapace of the spider. It screeches, it continues trying to drag itself, and then slumps, and its legs kind of curl up around it as it dies on the floor of the clearing. As the battle ends, a few of the scouts kind of move through the battlefield using their spears to finish off any spiders that are still twitching, just putting their spears through the carapaces of these things. The troll kind of whips its sword around and wipes the blade on a leaf on a nearby branch, and then sheathes the sword on its back. And then it kind of stands there looking at everyone, not quite sure what to do with itself.
With the last spider kind of defeated, Hokaiden has kept his horse still, but has definitely wheeled around to face this troll. Tetsubo still in hand, kind of lowered, still dripping with like this green, like thick, spider goo. Kind of staring at this thing, his face hidden inside the maw of this lion helm that he wears. He calls over to AKUME. AKUME, can you speak to this thing?
I
Can I speak to this thing?
your language, samurai. Your language is based off of mine, not the other way around.
Yeah, Hokaiden looks completely taken aback. And instead just kind of wheels the horse in a circle because this horse is still restless and pent up. He's trying to kind of maintain control of it in this awkward situation across from this monster. And he kind of turns to look at the others. What do we do?
Does it work with the Oni? Do you?
The troll spits. I do not work with the Oni that threatens the wood I protect.
You are a creature of this forest.
I am. I have dwelled here since before it was a forest.
You would protect this with your life.
He looks to the dozen or so spider corpses surrounding him. Clearly.
We ride to kill this Oni. Will you ride with us?
You ride to kill an Oni. By what means?
He turns and will pull the blade that they got from the Kikita family, and without drawing the blade itself, just holding it scabbard and all just out in front of him, as if that's enough an explanation.
The troll would actually kind of shield its eyes as you hold the sword aloft. You wield a blade forged of the tears of the kami. Such a weapon is a mighty tool against the denizens of Jingoku. You may have the means to destroy such a creature. I am Hogo, warden of these woods. Long have I protected them. I watched the Oni crawl from the fallen gate not a few days ago. Since then, the taint has taken hold and twisted these woods. If you seek to destroy the Oni, I will aid you however I can.
It will be no surprise that this Oni does not fight alone. So too, we should not fight alone. The more we have, the stronger our chance of winning.
I have fought alone for over 1,000 years. Today, I will fight shoulder to shoulder with you. And as he says this, Hida Hitomi kind of, and she would put her Tetsubo on the ground, maybe even cracking a stone on the road. Are we to join with this creature? Hokaiden, you know this is folly. We kill trolls on the other side of the wall. How can we trust this beast?
Do you not also kill people on the other side of the wall if they're corrupted?
Those tainted by the shadow, yes, of course.
And trolls who are tainted by the shadow?
Yes. But they are willing servants of Fu Leng. Not like
Do you
those
see
driven
any
mad by the taint.
correlation between what I'm asking you?
I see
I'm
the
not trying to belittle
correlation.
you.
I see the correlation, but you have to understand these creatures have killed many of my men in the past.
As have the crab.
But not this one.
No, not this one.
Many men have killed many Scorpion clan members over my years, but none of you are among them. I don't hold any grudges against you. Not all of you.
But
I'm just-
he is not a man, he is a troll. But I see your logic.
Beyond whether this troll is good or bad, he is enormous and has a very large sword, and I think he would be very useful in fighting the Only.
My champion will have my head for this. First, I disobey orders, then I ally myself with a troll. If this is your wish, I follow the Jade Magistrates. We will ride with the troll.
I think that your champion will be pleased when you report that you have defeated the cause of all of this misery.
And perhaps we will neglect to mention the troll. She would look at the scouts kind of surrounding her, and they would just sort of be like kind of looking around. She would heft her Tetsubo and move to her horse to mount up again. Troll, you say you know of the Oni, that you saw it come. What can you tell us about it? The troll would sort of move out from the trees, more comfortable now, his posture a little bit more relaxed. The Oni arrived not a few days ago, crawling from the fallen gate out of Jigoku. Its companion here in the MOTO world must have died or allowed it through somehow. There is war. I smell it on the air. War happens frequently in your world, but this one, it is being orchestrated by the Oni. It is pitting you against one another, willing you to fight, and as you fight and die and bleed, it grows stronger. The longer the war rages, the more powerful this Oni will become. It calls itself Kamura, a name it is undoubtedly stolen. I worry that eventually it will be able to open the fallen gate and allow more Oni through. This cannot be allowed to happen. With the Crystal Blade, we stand a chance. As she mentions this, Hitomi kind of stops getting on her horse. The name, what did you say the name was? Kamura. That is what it calls itself. Hitomi nods resolutely. Then let us be done with it.
I think Hokaiden is near Hitomi again, and when she has kind of this resolution, he kind of just looks down at her and he says, "This darkness took something very special from you. And then it took his name. Use that hatred, harness it. We will need it."
I intend to. And she'll spur her horse forward down the road. This seems like a good spot for a break, I think. So everyone can step away, use the bathroom, whatever. We'll be back here in 5 minutes, so don't go anywhere. Thank you, everyone, for stopping by and watching. We'll be right back.
Hello, everybody out there. Thanks for watching the game. Hopefully you guys are enjoying it. I still understand so little about what is going on in this system. But
I figured I had to shoot my bow.
yeah, right.
I'm gonna do that every combat.
I can swing a mad Tetsubo.
Yep. Like I know how to do a couple of things. Be specific. Seems to work.
I finally got a physical book in. So,
oh, nice.
And I don't know what it is about PDFs, but I can't learn from a PDF.
Yep. I only use them for reference. I need to sit down with the book and read it because I'm on computer. Like I won't just read. Right. I'm always like there's also Facebook and there's 100 other things, so I'm never really just focused on it.
Exactly. And I learn much better from playing an RPG,
Yeah,
but especially
me too.
playing an RPG with the book in hand. So when
For sure.
other people are doing things on their turn, I can be like, oh, okay. I'll go to the page that references that and learn something new. And
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do with the PDF, but I think Hubs and I are going to get the actual starter GM set for Christmas as a gift to ourselves.
Yeah, the GM kit's great. Really good. Well worth getting.
You guys have all raved about it.
Beautiful map.
Yeah. No, that's the beginner kit, I think. The GM's
kit's got the screen.
Yeah, the screen, which has just got all the stuff you need.
That's what I'm looking for.
You should get it all, really, though, because the map is worth the cost of the beginner kit, in my opinion. It's just the coolest isometric map, next to Oath of the Frozen King.
But of course.
It's so cool.
My sauce meter is off the chain this evening. I don't know what's happening to me.
Oh my gosh, you have not extroverted all day. You are...
Can't help it. Yeah, I've just been sitting here typing about runes literally all day, trying to figure out how to do magic.
You are so sassy in the side chat.
Makes for an excited person when he starts talking to people.
Was it for Iskoloff?
I love MITSUKAGE's sass, though.
Nice, man.
I
still think you should invent your own rune set. Which I know there's only so much you can do that without betraying what runes are and what they mean. So you kind of have to keep it in nature.
Part of it too is so many of the runes are tied into the culture. Like certain runes are for outlaws and certain ones are for law and stuff. And it's it's pretty tricky.
I actually just unpacked my little bag of runes and the 2 pages that of what they mean today when I was unpacking one of the dozens of boxes at this new house. God help me, moving. It's the worst.
Moving is absolutely the worst.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready to continue?
Hey.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So the 4 Jade Magistrates, along with a dozen or so crab scouts, Hida Hitomi, and Hogo, a seemingly friendly troll, they move through the old wood, going deeper and deeper into the darkness, into the dense plant life. As the trees begin narrowing the road, you all find yourselves riding single file. And soon a dark, grasping fog rolls across the road. It's a strange-looking mist. It doesn't have the silver quality of a good morning fog. This is dark. It's almost like liquid shadows spilling across the road. As this happens, Hogo kind of cries out. He says, "Stay close, keep your wits about." And as he begins to finish the sentence, the fog overtakes you. Your vision is complete darkness. You feel as though you're falling or being pulled somewhere. Up and down have no meaning any longer as you find yourself seemingly drifting through a void in which you cannot even see yourself inside of. And then as quickly as it happened, the fog is gone, clearing away from you. Chen, you find yourself alone on the road. As the fog leaves, you find yourself with the forest around you, dimly lit. None of your companions are here. No Hitomi, no Hogo. The road goes endlessly in front of you and behind you. What do you do?
Whoa, whoa. The horse stops. Soshi! HOKAIDEN! ISAWA!
As you speak their names, your own voice calls back to you, echoing. Mitsukage. What was that? Did you guys hear that?
It sounded like Alexa.
Was that? Oh, God, she's so irritating. I'm about to unplug her. She does nothing but irritate me down here.
Alexa, play Rush.
Living in the limelight. Okay, so you hear your own voice calling back to you, echoing through the forest.
I turn in like a 360-degree circle, and I still calling out the names, hearing my voice reverberate, echo back towards me. The roads, you said they were endlessly before me, endlessly behind me. Are they unnaturally endless, or do I recognize the road behind me as the road in whence I came?
It does look as though the road from whence you came, but if you ride forward, it just keeps going and going and going. And as you ride, these Toro, these stone lanterns that are set, begin lighting as you pass by them, lighting your way, going further and further up the road.
My breath quickens, and I continue up the road at a very, very slow trot. And I reach into my pouch and I pull out a flask, and I pour the sake into my mouth, but it's just drops at this point. It's so empty, and I'm shaking it to try to get every last drop. And I put the flask back, take a glance back at the trunk yielding my grandfather's armor, and I continue forward beyond all these lighting sconces, torches.
As you do so, a voice speaks to you. Of course, your hand goes for the flask, the first sign of trouble. And as this voice speaks, it booms down the road, carried by the wind, and all the torches, all these lanterns go out. You're left in darkness. The horse rears up, your horse, and the trunk falls off the back. And as it does, it hits the road and clatters open, and it is empty. There is no armor inside the trunk.
Grandfather. And I stop and I jump off the horse and I go to the trunk and I look inside, and there's nothing in there.
Nothing. Absolutely empty.
I reach inside, I reach for the bottom, I touch all the sides of the trunk. I look back at the road from whence I came, and I see no armor laying on the ground, like it didn't fall. I think for a moment that something stole it, and then I hear the reverberations that you described. Again, just still faint, but I know that this is unnatural. Something is happening here. And I grab the flask and I look to the forest and I throw it into the woods. Is that what you want? Is that what I want?
Something moves into the road in front of you. It's a mounted warrior, or it looks like it. The armor the warrior wears, you recognize. It's the same armor you carry in the trunk at your back at all times. Always behind you, always watching over your shoulder. It's not mounted on a horse, however. This warrior is mounted on one of the legendary Kirins, a unicorn. The horn that sprouts from its head is spiraling, gleaming. The rider wearing the armor looks at you through the dark holes of the helm and then draws out a scimitar and then begins charging towards you. What do you do?
Reflexively, Moto Chen's hand reaches towards his flask, but it's gone. Second reflex, he reaches towards his sword. He's about to pull it out of the scabbard, but he hears the galloping, the deafening galloping approaching. He looks at the armor. He looks at the face inside the helm. Does he see it?
There is no face. And as the rider gets closer, you see that there is nobody inside the armor. It is merely empty armor wielding a scimitar.
But I recognize that armor.
It is the armor.
Moto Chen places the katana back in the scabbard. And he takes a breath and he closes his eyes. He stands up tall. And he thinks about the wind blowing across his body and through his hair at the Shinjo Outrider School. What happens?
The galloping grows louder and louder and louder until it is upon you. You can feel the breath of the unicorn as it rides right through you. Mitsukage, you find yourself alone in a clearing as the fog leaves you. The clearing is familiar to you. You recognize the dark wilds of your homeland, Scorpion Lands. You'd recognize them anywhere. You see the stone steps leading up to your family home in front of you.
He would slow his horse and try and figure out what's going on. Like, was that a dream? All that stuff? The Jade Gavel? And doesn't think so. It felt very real, but he's not really sure because this obviously is real. But he's home and he hasn't been in a very long time. So he'll get off the horse and tie it to one of the stone lanterns, and very slowly begin walking towards those stairs.
You walk up the stairs. You see the soji walls of your home. There's lamplight flickering from inside. And as you approach and get closer, one of the doors slides open.
He looks left and right and behind him. All very weird. Doesn't make any sense. Not logical. Doesn't make sense. He's approaching the door that opened itself, but he's very, very cautious in doing so. Moving sort of pantomime slowly. But yeah, he moves towards the door.
You step inside. The familiar smells of the incense that your family used to burn. The smell of steeping tea leaves draws you deeper into the home, to the heart of the home, the center, where a low table is set. You see there's a single person sitting at the table. Bayushi Oda greets you as you enter. Mitsukage, it's good to see you.
Oda? He looks around the room for the trap that must be being sprung. He doesn't understand. And he's elated but also horrified at the same time. How are you here? What?
What are you talking about? Did you hit your head? Come on, sit. Have some tea.
He'll do so, like very, very slowly. He'll like move over and sit. And he thinks this must be poisoned. Must be something here. Something must be happening. It doesn't make any sense. None of it. And why is Oda being so nice to him? It doesn't make any sense. None of it does. But he'll pour some tea for Oda and then for himself. Where's everyone? What?
What do you mean? They're gone, Mitsukage. They're all gone.
Gone where? What?
He takes a sip of the tea. They're all dead, Mitsukage. We killed them. You and I did, together. You let me do it.
And that makes sense. It's like the first thing that's happened here that like makes sense to Mitsukage. He's like, oh, we did it? All of them? Even the masters?
Every single one. All dead. Look. And you look down, Mitsukage, and you see that you're holding your wakizashi, though you don't remember drawing it. And it's coated with blood, sticky blood that is just coating the blade. And you look up and you see that the soji walls are splattered with blood, and there are corpses everywhere, just heaping in the corners. And there are flies buzzing. And you see Oda just calmly sipping his tea. And he looks at you. What would you like to do today? We have all the time in the world.
This isn't. He actually like stumbles back from the cushion that he was on and like crawls backwards a little bit. This isn't. No, I wouldn't allow this. This is insane. This is not even for you. This is. Wait. No. He'll stand up and he'll like reach for his actual wakizashi and like feel that it's not there. Nothing is there. He's like without weapons, and that doesn't make any sense. He's never without weapons. He like reaches up one sleeve to like find a kunai that's not there. He like reaches down to like a boot and tries to pull out a dagger and nothing. No, I'm supposed to kill you.
But you didn't. You didn't. And you let this happen, Mitsukage. You let me do it.
He'll walk over to the table and like pick up the bloody wakizashi, and he'll like look down at it and then to Oda, and then he'll sort of shake his head, and then he'll like plunge it into his stomach.
And as you do so, Oda just smiles and calmly sips his tea. AKUME, you find yourself alone. You're in a clearing. And as the fog rolls away, there's silence, save one sound. A strange creaking sound. Almost like a rope kind of creaking in the wind. And it seems to be coming from all around you.
AKUME does not know if this is something in her mind or some other place. She knows it's not where she's supposed to be. She kneels down in the grass and begins pulling out her items for divination, hoping to glean something of where she is, of where the others are.
There's no need for that, child. And you look up and you see Asako Endo, the blind phoenix that you met in the mountains, standing there with his hands in his sleeves. You already know why you're here.
You are mistaken, Master Endo. I do not.
The creaking grows louder. You are here to find answers to questions you have been asking your entire life. Questions your own mother would not answer for you.
I would seek these answers at a later time. There is much to be done, Endo-san.
Even now you seek these answers. Even now you know deep down you would forsake your companions, your friends.
I would not.
If it meant you could find out.
I would not. She lies.
You are not very good at lying. You should leave the deception to your scorpion friend. He moves beside you and kneels down. What do you think you are going to find in these cards, these totems, in the stars above?
The truth.
The truth. The creaking grows louder. The truth of your parentage is not something you can forget. Do you want to know?
If you ask the question, Master Endo, surely you know the answer.
Your father. How do you imagine him? Because I know you do. Think of him often.
I should not. He must be important. For my mother to risk so much. He must have loved her greatly.
The second part is true. The first, I'm sorry to say, could not be further from the truth.
I do not understand.
Your father's name, you will never know, for it has been forgotten, stricken from those even closest to him. Your father was a Ronin, forsook his duty. A crane he was, fell in love with a wealthy phoenix. The two planned to leave. They planned to forsake all duty for their love. But they were discovered. And your father was hanged like a common criminal.
Then I am nothing.
You are a bastard. A gifted bastard, to be sure. But the daughter of a Ronin, nonetheless. Clanless. He moves behind you. But there is such power within you. He lays a hand on your shoulder. If you would but listen. And you see the hand that creeps on your shoulder are those long spider-like fingers that reached out to you in your tent. You already know the questions you ask have answers that come at great cost. Your father was willing to pay the cost. Are you?
I will defeat you at any cost.
You will try. You hear the creaking stop. And you're left alone, AKUME. Utterly alone. HOKAIDEN. The fog leaves you and you find yourself standing alone on a road with two paths. It's eerily quiet, but you can see daylight at the end of these paths. The path on the left, you can see leads south. And there, silhouetting the sun, standing like a great gray beacon, is the Kaiu Wall. The other path leads north. And you can see the rolling golden fields of Lion Lands. And you see the castle in which you grew up. What do you do?
HOKAIDEN spins his horse about, first kind of trying to figure out how he came to be alone. He must have dozed off or stopped paying as much attention as he was hoping that he was. Something about this fog must have turned him around. And he calls out, much like CHEN had before. CHEN! MITSUKAGE! AKUME! Atomi!
Come back to you, almost mocking you as your voice echoes.
He looks and sees now these things, these locations at the end of this road. And he stares first at one in disbelief, and then he turns and stares at the other. He doesn't understand how this is possible. How this road can lead to both of these places, and they be so close yet separated. And that he realizes that the closer that he moves towards one, the further he's going to move away from the other. He's torn. He starts to nudge his horse in the direction of his home, the castle that sits in Lion Lands. He travels maybe 100 yards or so before he pulls the horse to a halt abruptly. He turns the horse around and kicks it hard, riding as fast as he can towards the wall instead.
You ride towards the wall and it looms over you, this just massive feat of engineering. And as you round the corner and you see the Kaiu Wall and the castle stationed on the wall in front of you, a figure steps into the road. The figure is wearing Lion Clan armor with a great mane out the back of the helm. The figure draws out its katana and goes into a dueling stance. You recognize the armor. This is the man who killed your brother.
He brings the horse up, kind of sliding stop as his veins start to seize and run cold, and he begins to tremble all over. He's battled this man once before, and it nearly cost him his life, in addition to that of his brothers. This phantom pain shooting through his lower back as a reminder of the last time that they encountered one another. He steps down off of the horse and reaches for the katana at his waist. Very slowly draws it, deliberately, and brings it before him, trying his best to calm his nerves and bring them to be as still as this blade now stands before him.
The two samurai stand completely motionless. The two katanas, their rippled steel catches the light of the sun, and a wind blows the autumn leaves across the cobbled rocks of the road. And then in a flash of movement, the samurai moves towards you, HOKAIDEN, coming at you with aggressive stabs with the katana. What do you do?
HOKAIDEN, the moment he takes a step towards HOKAIDEN is matching him step for step, running straight at him with full force. And as soon as they reach one another, he's going to immediately begin clashing blades with him, doing his very, very best to tear this man apart.
The duel is quick. By the end, you're sweating, HOKAIDEN. You manage to parry him blow for blow. And as you see a weak spot, as you see an opening in his defense, as he falters, as his foot is just slightly off center, you follow through with your katana, sweeping through the opening and cutting up across this samurai's body. The armor opens. You see blood pooling, and the samurai falls back to the cobblestones. You stand over him, blood dripping from the edge of your katana. And you see that the mask, the lion mask that this samurai wears, has been cleft by your katana. As it falls away from his face, you see the face of your brother. As blood comes to his mouth, as he begins choking, he says, "You could have saved me, brother. You could have avenged me. Why? Why?" And blood fills his mouth as he chokes to death.
There's a clatter of steel on stone as HOKAIDEN has dropped the katana. His hand's not strong enough to hold it any longer. He collapses next to the body of his brother. And for the second time in his life, he cradles the dying form of his kin, of his brother. and he simply weeps, sobbing like a child.
As you weep, the golden light of day darkens. Sorry, the golden light of day darkens. The sky flushes an angry orange. You taste ash on the air. You look up from your brother's body, tears streaming down your face, and you see that the Caillou wall is alight. It burns. And as the fires rage, the stone sunders and the wall collapses, and a great shadow looms beyond, overtaking your vision.
I think HOKAIDEN simply repeats to himself, "It was all for nothing. It was all for nothing."
And as you say this, the shadow just rolls over you. Chen, you stumble onto the road. You're alive. You're not sure how, but you're alive. And you look around. There's no unicorn, no empty suit of armor. You see the trunk laying on the ground, and the armor has spilled out onto the road. Your horse is kind of shifting restlessly. And you hear weeping further down the road.
I look down the road to the weeping for a moment, but then I look immediately back to the armor. And I stare at it for what feels like an eternity. And then I begin pulling my armor off, shedding it like skin of a scorpion onto the ground around me. And I pick the armor up and I begin donning it, strapping, tightening, buckling. Lastly, I pick up the helmet. I mount the horse, helmet in my hand, and I leave the trunk behind with all the letters from my family spilling out with it. And I head on down the road towards the weeping, putting the helmet on my head. The flask is still gone.
You ride down the road and you find HOKAIDEN. He's crouched in the road, and you see that he's slouched, crying quietly.
Brother. I hop off my horse and I hold my hand out to you.
It was all for nothing. It was all for nothing.
Nothing is all for nothing. We are all fighters. We just hide it behind everything else we pick up along the way.
Who are you? Are you another spirit?
Chen takes off his helm, and you see Chen's face.
I think for the first time, HOKAIDEN's face kind of relaxes a little. He kind of looks confused. The tears kind of running streaks down his face. Chen? Where did you come from?
A long line of Unicorn Clan members, Shugenja, Bushi. Oh, just up the road. Sorry.
Where are the others? He kind of tries to straighten himself up, get to his feet.
Chen helps him up, though he clearly doesn't need it. He gets up on his own. but Chen looks around to see if he can spot any of the others.
You do actually see the shape of someone kneeling just beyond the road.
Sit there.
Did you say beyond the road? Off the edge?
Yeah, just off the edge of the road.
Chen will walk over to see who it is.
Hokaiden will follow.
It's MITSUKAGE. He's sitting solemnly, his eyes are closed, and you see that he has his wakizashi unsheathed in his lap.
I think like you'd probably see him doing like sawing motions. And he's like muttering to himself, no, wrong.
Chen would look to Hokaiden and kind of nod to him to maybe perhaps make the first move.
Yeah, once Chin has kind of relayed to him that this isn't just something that Hokaiden is seeing, Hokaiden will rush forward and try to wrestle the wakizashi from Mitsukage's hand. Mitsukage! Stop!
I failed everyone. And he'll like look up and like see the blood is gone. There's some blood in his hand, but he hasn't like gutted himself. There's like been a slight cut. Oda.
You look down and you see Hokaiden's hand is actually on the blade of your wakizashi, like keeping it from actually sliding into your gut. No, not this way, not here. It's a trick of the mind. Trust me.
It all like comes like crashing down, and you also realize that he said Oda's name, which is like just insane for Mitsukage to do. He would like lose it if he had, and he like, yeah, and he'll like stumble and like do that sort of like suddenly stand up and like take like 10 steps back, like trying to figure out your hand.
He kind of opens his hand and looks. Better my hand than your gut.
Some momentary madness. I thought I had failed.
We did too. He kind of looks to Chin, maybe hoping that he'll that he too has seen something strange that cut deep.
You see on his face and in the armor that he's wearing that he has undergone some change. Something unnatural, perhaps.
We must find AKUME. The others too, if we can.
Yes, you're right. And as he's like speaking, he's like checking all of the hidden parts of him to see like, are his weapons there? Because they weren't. And he's like going through like his usual sort of like, I guess it's like an OCD ritual that he would like go through to like make sure all the things are like where they're supposed to be. And you can see that he's like very nervously sort of like fidgeting and like doing hand forms and stuff, trying to calm himself.
Chen would turn and yell again, not for the first time today. Isawa! AKUME!
AKUME, you come to. You're kind of sprawled across the ground. You feel wet grass beneath you, and you hear a voice. Isawa, AKUME!
She looks first to her shoulder for the hand that was there, and then to to the trees, to the shadows around, fearing the Oni, fearing herself and her weakness. But is not there. She sits up and listens. Chen.
AKUME!
HOKAIDEN?
If we hear
Mitsukai
her,
will be quietly moving towards the voice.
yeah, I was gonna say if we hear her, that's where Hokaiden's headed.
You all find her in a clearing not too far from where you are.
I think Hokaiden kind of stops at the edge of this clearing, uncertain if he even wants to enter it, because he knows that Akume's into some dangerous magics, and whatever it was that they just went through was obviously something that wasn't natural. He's going to call from the edge of the clearing. Are you harmed?
The thought hasn't occurred to her that she might be harmed. She kind of looks... No.
You aware of how you came to be here?
I am not.
I don't know if Hokaiden is reassured by this or the opposite. The fact that AKUME has no idea how this happened. We should press on. We must try to find the others.
I do not know if we will. It knows we are coming.
This trickery, it was caused by the Oni, yes?
She suddenly realizes that perhaps they have not seen it. It doesn't speak to them like it does to her. The stench and the fear that weakens her. Yes. It was the Oni.
We should not linger. We should move.
And she looks around and she goes, I at least am on foot. Although Chen appears to be a unicorn.
Chen seems surprised. He was lost in the thought. Trickery, you said. He doesn't say any of this, but he thinks, what trick would turn me into the man I was born to be? He just ponders for a moment, but he just kind of looks baffled to you.
Mitsukage thinks that he also was the man maybe he was born to be, or what he would like to be, or what like an outcome he would wish for sometimes in his darkest moments, but saw the opposite. Like that's not what he wants, and he like saw it come true, and he's like realized that his duty maybe is more important to him than his like need.
Go ahead, Jeremy.
I think Hokaiden would kind of look at all of them with a very serious expression. Crystal blade or no, I do not know how to fight a creature of the mind. He kind of looks at the ground. I am frightened.
We all are.
I think he takes a small amount of solace, knowing that he's not alone.
Only
need
a
to-
fool. Oh, good.
You go.
Only a fool would not be afraid of a creature with this much power.
We need to
What is
lure
it?
it into the open somehow. We cannot fight mist.
What is it they showed us? Our fears?
This creature must want something. There must be something that it's after, that it would be eager for. Lions.
That's what it showed me. My desires fulfilled, but in a way I did not wish.
Question for you, Matt.
Yeah.
Do Oni only need one name?
They do, yeah. The one name allows them to manifest physically. Once they have it, they don't need any more. Their friends do, though. Hitomi comes stumbling into the clearing, her katana drawn. Where is it? Did it come through here?
We have all seen something that was false. Hitomi.
No, the Oni. I saw it, and it had Kamura's face.
I saw my brother, who has been dead for over 10 years. This is devilry.
HOKAIDEN. She may have seen the Oni. I saw it.
It wears the face of another, as well as the name?
I cannot say. That might have been trickery, as you said. But the creature is real enough.
How do we fight such a thing? Come out and fight! He shouts at the forest around them.
We will fight it at Fallen Gate. The troll steps out of the bushes. It is a defiler, corrupter, manipulator. If we can get close to it with that, it indicates the crystal katana you're carrying, HOKAIDEN. Then we can end it. Until then, it will continue to toy with us.
Pogo, can you sense it? The blade.
The crystal sword. Yes.
Then the Oni will be able to know when it is near.
Yes.
She shoots a glance at MITSUKAGE. She knows he likes to be sneaky.
He's not following. If it can sense it, then how can I hide it?
There will be no hiding.
I will lure it out. Maybe it's waiting for a chance for one of us to be alone.
I passed some of your men, the troll says to Hitomi, dead. A few of them killed themselves. 2 others appeared as though they were in some sort of duel. The Oni will kill you with your own blade if it has the chance.
It
How can
almost
we hope
did.
to defeat such darkness?
Be unwavering.
Be invincible. That is your advice.
No. Be unwavering.
An Oni is not without fear. It can be killed. It knows you have the crystal sword, and it fears it. It pains me to even stand within a few feet of that sword. Should you draw it near the Oni, it will know its time has come.
Hokaiden looks at the others. He looks. His eyes come to rest on AKUME. Unwavering, you say? I suggest that we four take a vow, a further vow, as Jade Magistrates. Until this is done, we set aside clan. We set aside family. Our honor, our duty, and our glory comes from ending this. And until then, nothing else matters. We are not lion, nor scorpion, nor phoenix, nor unicorn, nor crab. We are Jade Magistrates. It will not be able to tear us asunder if we are united.
Chen, who is decked out in unicorn armor, takes the sword in the scabbard, emblazoned with the phoenix, the one he inherited from a long-lost friend. And he holds it out in the middle of all of them. And he looks to you, Hokaiden, and he says, this day, without clan. He looks to you, AKUME, unwavering. And he looks to you, MITSUKAGE, and says, invincible. And his hand shakes slightly from the lack of sake.
Mitsukage is unconvinced. His whole existence is duty. It's always been like his whole reason for doing anything. His whole existence is getting the job done. But he like understands the need for sentimentality and that it helps other people. And so he'll like look between them and nod together.
As they begin to walk, AKUME will put a hand on Mitsukage's arm.
He flinches.
Yeah, it's like the most liberty she's ever taken. And she will speak very quietly to him. You are not a sentimental person. If I am weak, do not hesitate. Do not let me give any power to the Oni.
He thinks about saying, "I never hesitate," and that was part of my my plan when we were going into this. But he knows that's not going to be useful for anyone. He's like really trying here to like be a human. You will not be weak. If Chen can stop drinking, you will resist.
Was that a joke?
Fact.
A funny one. Fact or joke?
Your hand. He like looks down. He's like very uncomfortable with like any sort of human contact.
She resists the urge to roll her eyes as she like removes the feather-light touch from his arm.
He nods, though you can see that he's like doing that thing with his hands where he's like counting his fingers with his thumb. He's like uncomfortable and freaked out.
Hitomi shakes her head. We should find what men we can. We'll need them. I'm with you to the end.
HOKAIDEN will start heading off in the direction that the troll had indicated that the rest of the crab were, to try to find them and then get to the gate as soon as possible.
Yeah, you spend the next few minutes kind of, moving further down the road, and you do find 7 or 8 of the original dozen crab scouts that had come with you. A lot of them are alone, wandering, confused. A few of them have their weapons out, acting like they're being attacked. A few of them are just openly weeping, sobbing. And you do find a few of them dead. It looks like at least 2 of them have committed seppuku. Their wakizashi is still in their guts as they slump forward. And another 2, it looks like were locked in a duel, and they have lodged their katanas into each other's chests. Hitomi takes a few moments to speak over these bodies and then steps back onto the road. These men were robbed. Deaths becoming of their station. They were murdered by cowardice and trickery from afar. They were robbed the right to look their killer in the face. I will look him in the face for them. She looks to the rest of the scouts, including Yori, who's still alive but clearly shaken. We ride now with the Jade Magistrates to do what must be done. Do your duty for your clan. Most importantly, for Rokugan. The men nod. Hey! Gather their arrows and their bows, their spears. She looks to the 4 of you, and her eyes rest on HOKAIDEN. You wield the sword. Lead the way. The troll, Hogo, nods to you as well. Just up the road. We are nearly there.
He draws the katana, the crystal katana, from his back and moves his own katana back around and replaces the place of his katana in his daisho with this crystal katana for the moment, at least.
When you draw it out of the sheath, it glows brilliantly. It's just this like blinding light, and it's just humming in your hand. When you draw it out, everyone kind of shies away from it. The troll actually, and you see it kind of sizzle on his skin as the light reflects off the blade, and then you snap it back into its scabbard. That is a crystal blade, to be sure.
Good to know.
Just be careful where you point it, he says.
Then HOKAIDEN will kind of take one last look at the group and then turn and head down the road.
You journey through the old wood, up the road. Eventually, the road opens into a large clearing, and you see in the center of this clearing a raised stone platform. You slowly realize that you're in the heart of what was once probably a grand city. The skeletal remains of structures surround you, hollowed out buildings, archways, roads. This was once a greater city than any of you have ever looked upon, built by the trolls. Everything is covered in moss and vines. The ground here is tainted. Ash floats on the air. The shadows are deep and black and oppressive. There's a smell, something between burning and rotten flesh that hangs heavy on the air. There's an unnatural chill that seeps all the way to your bones. On this stone platform at the center of the square, there is a ring, a sort of stone semicircle, half collapsed. The ring is surrounded by this black tainted ground. And you see standing near this ring and near the fallen gate, the Oni that has stolen the name Kamura. It has its back to you, but it's unmistakable. 9 feet tall, even with its slouched, gaunt frame. Its unnaturally long limbs seem to have too many joints as it runs these spider-like fingers down the stone of the ring. It has 2 pairs of horns, one above, one below, that both curve in front of its face almost like a helm. And a mane of sort of lank, greasy hair that goes all the way down its back and trails on the ground. As it runs its hand on the gate, it speaks. And its voice is like a wet stone on the jagged edge of a sword in dire need of sharpening. I was afraid that my work here would be too easy. I'm glad to have the challenge. It will make this victory all the sweeter. The Oni turns and you see its face for the first time. Strangely human and yet monstrous. Its eyes are glowing hot embers. Jagged teeth sprout from its mouth. It moves across the stone platform and you see extra limbs unfurl from its torso as it moves like a spider across the top of this dais. It comes to the edge of the stairs and looks down at all of you. Only 4. I was hoping to claim more souls before you arrived. No matter. It moves back to the gate. Well then, let's get on with it. From the shadows surrounding you, you see shapes moving. Dozens and dozens of shapes. There are goblins. You recognize them from your encounter with them several days prior. You see shambling corpses, not unlike the ones that Kamura created back in Garasatan. You see two skeletons, ancient, wearing armor of clans you've never seen before. All of these hellish minions come forward out of the wood. Hitomi looks to you, Hokaiden. We can clear you a path to the Oni. Don't worry about his minions. We'll focus on them. The four of you need to do what you came here to do.
Honor and glory.
Honor and glory. She draws out her Tetsubo and begins chanting a crab war chant, this sort of boisterous, loud, very un-Bushido sort of war chant. And the rest of the scouts sort of take it up, stamping their spears on the ground as she continues this war chant. And as she's doing so, they sort of form up, drawing out their weapons, preparing for battle.
Kaiden joins the chant.
The chant fills the clearing, and then it stops. And the minions of the Oni called Kamura charge towards the crab ranks. Let's roll for initiative. Everyone make a tactics check, adding it to your focus. I gotta figure out how many dice this guy rolls. Jesus Christ. Just listen.
Yeah, I'm not at all encouraged by that little message you sent that said, oh, by the way, I don't have enough dice to roll one of these.
I need to buy another set of dice for this guy. All right. So he can keep 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So during that war chant, could AKUME have been prepping an invocation?
Absolutely.
Sweet.
Jesus. Okay. Kamura. And then MITSUKAGE. Kaiden. AKUME or CHEN, which one of you wants to go first? You guys tied.
I think MITSUKAGE goes. Oh,
I mean,
of the
first
two of
between
us.
the two of you, yeah.
Chen can go first. I didn't have any opportunities.
All right.
Well, 2 blank dice. I just happen to have 5 focus.
All right. Here comes initiative. Okay. And you're preparing an invocation, AKUME?
Yes, I'm trying to read my dice in bad lighting. Just really hard with the black one.
It is. It's hard to read sometimes.
Okay. Ooh, that's not good for my strife level. I might have just hit my limit. No big.
Start the combat off right with some unmaskings. All right, so Kamura gets to go first because I rolled an insane amount of successes.
Of your system now.
Yep. So as the chant ends and the two sides of this combat start charging towards each other, Kamura crawls to the edge of the dais again, looking upon the battle that's happening with a look of glee upon his face. And he rears his head back and looses this otherworldly bellow. I need everyone to give me a TN4 meditation check. However, if you use Earth Stance, it is only TN2.
Still only 3 dice. So I rolled 2 of those exploding successes, and I only have 1 other die. So I re-rolled this 1 die, correct?
No, the exploding successes just get rolled again. So you count those successes. So you say 1, 2, and then you roll them again to get more successes.
So it's on with these 2 dice.
It's on.
Oh, shit.
And did you roll Earth, Jeremy? Okay, cool.
It's a big old fail for me.
Oh boy. Okay, so everyone succeeded except for Mitsukage. Oh, cool. Oh, I should have waited to use it. Never mind. So Mitsukage, you gain the afflicted condition first off, which basically means that I get to, when you roll your dice, I get to choose to change one of the ring dice to the side that has, what is it? The opportunity and the strife.
Okay.
It also basically means that you are now tainted by the shadow. You have been touched by the shadow and it has seeped into your being, which will require a cleansing rite in order to remove. You were also moved back 1 range band as the Oni literally moves you with its roar. Everyone who succeeded, you managed to keep your footing and not let the shadow creep into you, but it's just this deafening roar that leaves your ears ringing somewhere between a screech and a howl that just echoes and like moves the trees themselves as this just shockwave of sonic energies looses from this creature. You see several of the crab samurai fall, toppling, rolling as the sound hits them. Hitomi manages to stand fast, driving the edge of her tetsubo on the ground to keep standing. And that is Kamura's turn. It is now Mitsukage's turn. You are on your ass, rolling 1 range band away. What would you like to do?
Okay, well, this is where I'm going to use my poison if ever there was a time. Maybe he's immune, who knows, but it's definitely worth a go. How far away am I?
So you moved 1 range band away, so you're now range 3.
Perfect. Okay, so I have the Yumi, and as I like move towards and I hold it, I'm like seeing if he's like looking in my direction, and I'm seeing if I can like move out of the way. And if he like looks away for a second, I'll drop that and like fling from inside my sleeve a shuriken that's been coated in the poison. So I got to roll to hit him, which I think is probably unlikely. So what can I use void points for, and does it help me hit things?
So yeah, you can use a void point to add a ring die to your roll and also get to keep an extra die.
Sick. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing.
Cool.
Okay. Ranged. Anything else I can do to... Nope. Trying to maximize my effectiveness here. Okay, so that's pretty good. So one of these is going to go to the bad face, right? Because of my affliction.
Yeah, change one of the ring dice to the opportunity strife result.
Okay. So
And
that will be
that'll be every time you roll. I'll have you do that.
just forever.
Yep, until you're not afflicted anymore. Yep.
That's brutal. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, sick. Okay, so one explosion. Oh, do you pick which dice? Because you would pick the exploding success, right?
Absolutely, I would. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
okay.
assume that I'm always going to pick the best
The
result.
best. Yep.
I'm going to
Yeah,
leave you
for
with like
sure.
the blanks and the shitty results. Yeah.
Yep. I got to roll a bunch of dice there, though, because I rolled air and I used a void dice, so I get to roll 4 black dice, which are the ring dice. And I got it. So I end up with 3 successes, 2 strife, and 2 upper advantages.
Okay. So, you can use those 2 upper advantages to deal a critical strike.
You better believe I'm going to do that.
So how much damage? We'll just figure out how much damage first, and then we'll deal with that critical strike.
Well, I guess it depends on what the number is, right?
Oh,
What
it's
I
still
need to hit.
TN2. Yeah.
Okay. So then it would be 1 extra. I got 3 hits, basically.
Okay, cool.
So the damage of a shuriken is 2,
Okay, so 5 damage.
right? But here comes the poison situation here.
Oh yeah, poison situation. I also need to look up critical strikes.
This is gonna be interesting.
Oh wait, he's in Earth stance. Hang on. Oh, you can't do critical strike because he's in Earth stance. So you can't use the opportunity to deal critical strike. But let's see what the poison situation is.
This is such a disaster. Okay, so when a character, okay, no, it doesn't matter. If he eats it, he suffers a critical strike with severity 10. When noxious poison is applied to a weapon, increase that weapon's deadliness by +4.
Okay.
So I don't think it makes much difference.
Not right now, man. If he wasn't in Earth stance, she would have been able to deal a critical strike and deal a bunch of extra damage to him.
Sweet. I've got like 2 more doses, so I'm gonna hang on to that.
Yep.
Yeah. So I throw that, and I guess it like hits him, and I'm like, all right, that's it. And then like nothing happens, and I'm like, oh god. What are we
he kind of
fighting?
like it sticks into him, and he looks and sees it, and he just pulls it out and throws it to the ground and begins stalking forward on all of his legs. All right.
MITSUKAGE is very afraid.
Licks it. Yeah. Jovito's 2 days old. He throws it on the ground. That was MITSUKAGE. HOKAIDEN, you're up.
Okay. Is there a path that has been opened to the Oni yet?
Yes, the crab have basically created a wall along the left side, which leaves a stairway up to the stone platform open, and they're sort of holding back the minions against it. You imagine that eventually the minions will flank their way around and come behind the crab, but at least for now, it's clear.
Okay. There was a type of action that you could take to like recenter yourself or something to like regain some strength.
Yeah, calming breath.
Calming breath. And that is like a full action.
Yeah, it's a support action, so it's your 1 action for the turn, unless you do water stance, and then you can do another action. But basically, you can remove 1 strife, 1 strife and 1 fatigue with calming breath.
Okay. So I was planning on using water stance so I could close with him if there was a path. So
yeah, water stance would allow you to do a calming breath in addition to another action because it doesn't require a check.
Perfect. Okay. So I imagine HOKAIDEN holds this crystal katana in front of him for a second, and the blade kind of tilts into the sunlight just enough that it reflects his own face. And for a second, it's not his face, it's the face of his brother. And he kind of just stops for a second and closes his eyes and breathes. For you. And then he's going to run up these stairs and strike with the katana if he's able to close.
You are able to close, and when the crystal katana comes out and the light is reflected off of it, Kamura was kind of like coming down the stairs, and he immediately like flinches, and all of his limbs come up and cover his face as the light reflects off the katana, and he sort of like screeches as the light hits him, and you see that it's burning his flesh, just the light coming off of this katana. And you are able to close with him. Yes, you're right up next to him. That's a really good question, Lloyd. I'm not actually sure about that. If it's like a mechanical thing that some like certain people
Right.
benefit from, or if it's just like I can just tell you he's in this stance or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like if there's like a mechanical check I can do, like if it's a tactics check or something to see. I don't know. I'll look it up while you run the game.
Yeah, let me know if you find anything out.
Okay, so even though I removed 2 strife, I gained 2 more from this roll. I also have an Opera Vanity and 3 successes.
Cool. So 3 successes is definitely enough to hit. With the crystal katana, you're actually only looking for 1 success to hit this guy. It's not the usual TN2.
Oh, holy shit.
You also completely bypass all of his resistances when you wield the crystal katana and deal damage directly to him every time.
Buddy, okay. So let's see then. That was 3 successes, so that's going to be 2 bonuses on top of the 2 from the 2 from being two-handed. So that's 8.
Okay. What does that look like as you slash this Oni with the katana for the first time?
So you said his limbs kind of recoiled to kind of cover his face. I think the first strike is actually like severing 2 of these 2 smaller limbs, like basically right in the equivalent of whatever the forearm would be, lopping off the hand of these things and exposing him to more of the reflective power of this blade.
Beautiful. Yeah, you hack through a couple limbs and they fall to the ground with a sizzle. And you see that as you've sort of hacked through his arms with this katana, the wounds are like cauterized, almost like it's like a lightsaber that you're wielding against this thing. Like it's just instantly like burned and scorched as you slice through it. This thing's definitely working, definitely doing what it's supposed to do. All right, that was HOKAIDEN. So now it is Chen's turn.
Shimasu rears back with the deafening force that the Oni lets out with this sound that knocks Crab over, and the battle begins. He also covers his eyes. He's blinded by this light emanating from the crystal katana that HOKAIDEN is wielding. Shimasu pulls back down, and in Chen's hand is now his Yumi, loaded, nocked with an arrow. He pulls it back, and he releases it at the Oni at the top, up the steps. Ouch. I miss 1 success, 1 strife, and 2 advantages.
Yeah, you fire an arrow and Kamura knocks it aside as it flies towards him. Just, and you see it kind of fly off into the distance.
He reaches for his flask and it's not there. And he hears a voice inside his mind, or maybe it's his own, saying, "You don't need that."
Beautiful. AKUME, you're up.
AKUME tries to take a breath to steady herself, but all she can think of is that she's not anything. And seeing the Oni and hearing its cry, its roar, whatever that horrific sound was, it's stunned her in a way that she didn't expect. and she cries out, and she begins to almost frantically like pull at the phoenix cloak that she wears with the emblems on it until she's ripping at it and pulling some of the crest of the phoenix off it. And I'm going to use my turn to unmask.
Beautiful. All right, so you reset your strife back to 0, which is good, and you're no longer compromised. And as you do this, Kamura kind of, he's like holding up his limbs, shielding himself from the katana, and he sees you doing this, and this like leering smile just flashes across his face as he sees your moment of weakness, and he kind of hones in on you a little bit. All right. As all this is happening, the crab, along with Hogo the troll, are clashing with the goblins and the undead minions. The goblins charge in first, charging forward, some of them running on all fours, all of them holding these rusted weapons, and they clash with the crab, leaping into the ranks. The crab sort of like step back a little bit in defensive stances, clearly in the earth stance, using their spears to keep the goblins at bay. And as they do so, Hitomi kind of stands over them, using her tetsubo as kind of a warding weapon, spinning it over her head, catching a few goblins with the end of it. And as she does so, sort of breaking their lines, you see Hogo the troll kind of wading through, and he finds a few goblins with their backs to him, and he puts this strange sword with the rings along the back of the spine through a few of these goblins and just sort of hurls them off the edge of it with his immense strength, and then continues wading through. You see in the back ranks a few skeletons with these like moldering bows drawing back, and they fire a few arrows. You see some of the arrows find their mark, and one or two of the crab samurai go down with arrows sticking out of their armor. All right. Back at the top with Kamura. Even though he is fairly fixated on AKUME and clearly wants to get to her, the closest to him is HOKAIDEN, and HOKAIDEN is the greatest threat. And so that is who he directs his ire towards. Okay, still in earth stance, so that gives me 4. That's ridiculous. Okay, I can keep 4. So let's do 1, 2, 3. 3, 4, 5. Okay. So out of its own body, sort of solidifying out of its flesh, Kamura draws one katana for each of its arms, these black-bladed swords, and sort of spins them in its hand and starts sort of whirling them in this maddening sort of whirlwind of steel, and starts hacking at you with these katanas. You bring the crystal blade up and you manage to parry a few of them, HOKAIDEN, but 2 of them find their mark, and you feel the tips of the blades cutting through your armor. 11 damage.
Okay, no big deal. I got this. Okay, so that is physical?
It is physical, yeah.
Okay. And just double checking, when you have armor and clothes that both have protective type, they do not stack.
They do not stack. The one with the highest resistance is the one that you go with.
That's what I've been doing, so I just wanted to make sure I've been doing it. Okay. So my lacquered armor gives me 4, which means it's going to be 7 damage that comes through.
Yep.
All right. I'm fine. This is fine.
What happens when we do hit our like endurance fatigue limit?
You start taking critical strikes.
Is that somewhere on the character sheet?
No, it just basically you don't have fatigue to burn anymore. So every time you get hit, it's a critical strike.
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
ooh.
All right. That was Kamura. Mitsukage, you're up.
So I've like searched this book up and down, but I cannot find out how I find out what stance he's in.
So I guess I can just probably tell you then. He's in Earth stance right now. No, he's not in Earth stance. He is in Water stance.
I want to poison the shit out of him. Yeah, I thought maybe like a sentiment or something, but like even there, it was all very vague and narrative, and I was like, I don't know if there's like a mechanical.
Yeah, like you guys have seen enough combat where you can kind of tell, you can just look at someone and see how they're fighting. I assume so. You see that he's being very he's sort of being wily and sort of cunning in his combat, being very sort of manipulative. So he's doing water stance.
Okay, so I'm gonna go fire stance and use another void point, my only remaining one, and then I'm gonna roll these dice. I'm gonna try and do the same thing. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna throw my katana at him because I have soaring something strike. Mm-hmm. So I see that the shuriken was like too little, didn't make a difference, and so he pulls out the katana and quickly coats it in this blowfish poison, and then it's just gonna fling it across towards this hideous demon.
I love it.
Okay. So I turn one of them to misery because of my affliction. And I got one exploding success on my skill die, which is nice. So it's going to be 4. Oh, and strife adds 2. So then 6.
6?
6 successes, yeah.
That's definitely enough.
And I needed 2, right?
Yep, 2 to hit him. So that's 4 bonus.
Sweet. So that'll be 8 damage, I guess.
8 damage.
And the upper advantages. I have 2 of those. Is that enough to do a?
That is enough to do a critical strike. Yes. So let me. So he does resist 5. So he's gonna take 3 of the damage, and then let's figure out the critical strike here.
Okay, so the deadliness of a katana is 5, and because of the poison, it is going to be 9.
9. Okay, awesome. So let's see here. Where is it? Oh, critical strike, 270. Okay, cool. This is actually, I think this is the. Is this the first time we're doing a critical strike in this?
I think so, yeah.
I think we sort of did one, but then we realized that it was against Dominion, so it didn't matter. Okay, so... Okay, they suffer a critical strike. Okay, they suffer a critical strike.
They make a fitness check, a TN1 fitness check, and then they mitigate it by their successes.
TN1 fitness check. Okay, great. All right. So he is in water stance, so that's 3 and then 4. 1. I just rolled a bunch of fucking blanks. 1, 2. I'll keep these 2, 3, 4. I got 4 successes, so that's 3 bonus successes. So I reduce it by 4 then. 1 plus their bonus successes. So reducing it by 4, you said it was 9?
Yeah.
So the severity is now 5. Debilitating gash. The hit is agonizing, cutting a deep furrow in the flesh or splitting muscle and fracturing bone. The character will likely need time to recover. The character suffers the severely wounded condition for the ring they used for their check. Oh, weird. There's a typo in there. They used for their check to resist. If the attack had the razor-edged quality, which Katana does, the character also suffers the bleeding condition. So the Oni is now bleeding and severely wounded, which means it's going to take damage every time it rolls strife, or rather keeps a dice with strife on it, and is severely wounded, which means that its water checks are now increased by 3. The TNs of his water checks are increased by 3. So what does this look like, Mitsukage, as you throw a poison katana and skewer an Oni with it?
Yeah, it would be funny if it wasn't so insane. But he coats it with the fugu, And he's like watching this like insane, it's like moving in every direction all the time, but he like has enough time because he's far away to watch it really carefully in the way that it's moving. And when it like does a particularly like violent flash for HOKAIDEN, that's when the katana like sails and like catches it under one of the many armpits that it has, and it seems to like sink right up to the what's it called, tsuba, on the katana, and I'm sure it lets out some hideous wail. And MITSUKAGE allows himself like one quiet fist pump and like exultation of success.
Absolutely. And the Kamura kind of rears back and looks down and sees this katana just sticking up to the guard into its flesh. And then Taylor just brought up a good point, Lloyd. You can choose to break either your jade finger or your jade gavel in order to lose the afflicted condition, because it can absorb the shadow for you.
100% smashing that jade finger.
Awesome. Also, if the Oni is considered an otherworldly being, if it makes an attack or intrigue action against a target wearing one of a sacred items, it increases the TN by 1.
Okay, good to know. That wouldn't have mattered much with my ridiculous number of successes against
really
Journey, but it's really good to know. Yeah. All right. Good job, MITSUKAGE. HOKAIDEN, you're up. A katana just came end over end over your shoulder and stuck into this Oni as you're fighting it.
HOKAIDEN was reeling from the multitude of slashes from this monstrous evil creature. He is going to take this momentary lapse as MITSUKAGE throws this katana into him to try to step forward and attack once again with this crystal blade. However, he's going to do so with the fire stance. He is going to try to put the last bit of what he has left into trying to take this Oni down as fast as possible. Okay. So I'm going to toss that one aside. I have the one success that I'm looking for. Okay, that's actually 2 successes and 2 strife and 2 opera vanities. So the 2 strife, because I did fire stance, count as additional successes.
Correct.
But I still take the strife.
You do still take the strife.
Okay, so that's 4 successes. So that's 3 bonuses and 2 opera vanities. So I would like to trade those in for a critical strike.
Absolutely, you can. So let's do the damage first, and then we'll do the critical strike.
Okay, so the katana is 4, and then plus 2 if it's wielded with 2 hands. So that is 6 plus 3 additional successes. So that's 9.
Yep. And that completely bypasses his resistances.
Right. Okay, and then the critical strike you said was a percentile roll?
No, so it's I got to roll against it.
Oh, okay,
which sucks because I'm still in water stance. Thanks a lot, Lloyd.
Yes.
So it's now a TN 4 check to try to resist.
That's fucking teamwork.
1, 2, 3. God, I'm taking all this strife too. Jesus. Okay, let's do that.
Oni unmasked.
2, 3. Okay,
Yeah,
he becomes super polite.
so I don't reduce the deadliness at all. I don't get enough. And I take 2 additional damage from the 2 strife that I have here because I'm bleeding. All right, so the deadliness of katana is, remind me again, 5, which means he's going to take a debilitating, another debilitating gash. Oh, wait. If they already have the severely wounded condition, treat this as 7 to 8. Perfect. Permanent injury. The character suffers the bleeding condition already done, then chooses one scar of the following disadvantages for the ring used for their checks to resist, which is water. Oh, shit. So you slash through one of its eyes, and this burning ember just goes out, and this gout of like black blood just spews forth as you cut upwards with this crystal katana, just leaving this like burning gash right across its eye. And it sort of like stumbles back, flailing with its arms. Good job, man.
I think HOKAIDEN kind of is panting, like breathing hard, like spitting up some blood, but he's very, very in this moment, doesn't even care.
And you, in this one remaining eye, you see fear as this Oni kind of steps back and goes into a defensive stance as you wield this crystal katana against it. Oh, it's so dope. Cut its eye, dude. All right, CHEN, you're up, my friend.
Without clan, he thinks inside his mind. Unwavering, invincible. He looks at the warrior in front of him, HOKAIDEN, charging up against the Oni. He follows. He sees that his arrow misses on his way up, but he sees that the katana thrown by MITSUKAGE hits. On his way up, he sees the reckless, the visceral damage done to the Oni's eye by the crystal blade, and feels it in a way, maybe even hears it. And he draws his katana out of his phoenix scabbard, and he brings it forth unto the Oni himself. He's striking as fire. So at any upper advantage, whatever it is, can be spent in certain ways. I'll keep you posted on those. Ooh, I got a few of them too. 1, 2, 3.
And for fire stance, every strife you get is another success.
Yeah, it's a bonus success.
Oh, wait.
You still take the strife, but you get the additional benefit of them being successes.
Oh man, I was kind of hoping I'd unmask while doing this. I'm one short of unmasking, but one.
Oh damn! Too bad.
Yeah. Down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 successes with the katana, and the 1, 2, 3 advantages, which mean that
You can do a critical strike.
the next time your target suffers a critical strike, increase its severity by 1 per advantage spent this way. So 3. So the next time
damn.
it suffers that.
Okay, yeah. +3 to next crit.
Assuming I didn't kill it right now, you know.
Yeah.
Kill the demon.
And how much damage are you doing?
Oh god, so 5, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait, hold on. What was the TN2?
Yeah, TN2.
Then 6.
Okay, perfect. And it unfortunately negates a lot of that with its resistances, but you still did some damage.
Sweet.
The most thank you, Lloyd. Plus it gets +3 deadliness to the next crit, which is great. All right. Good job, CHEN. AKUME, you're up.
AKUME is watching this happen, and she can feel the lure of power and her weakness, but she almost hears CHEN over the den of battle. It's soft as a whisper. And she, kneeling as she is, digs her fingers into the ground, and a crack appears, and it's snaking its way along the ground. And I went ahead and rolled this. It's a TN2 Earth check, and I got 4 successes. He needs to make a fitness check, please.
And I'm still in the goddamn water stance. All right, fitness. Okay, so he's water stance. So that's 3. Marshall's 4. And then TN is going to increase by 3. Damn, that's quite a number.
And if he's in water stance, it is a TN5 fitness check for him.
Is that not including the +3 that I get from being
That's separate. I don't know.
Oh my god. Okay, well there's no way I'm gonna get 8. I'm rolling like 9 dice. I'm not gonna get 8 successes. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, but I'm gonna take damage with those strife. Oh my god, bloodied is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's super brutal, right?
Dude, it's like you don't really think about like strife being that debilitating until you're literally taking damage every time you get strife. So after taking my strife damage, I have 4 successes.
Okay, it is not enough because he needed 5. So he will be prone, and I'm going to use my opportunity to immobilize him. As this crack of earth comes up and it opens up and it encases the Oni's legs and it, like, wraps him up to about the waist.
Whoa. What is okay? So does immobilize mean he can't do anything?
It just says the immobilized condition. I don't know.
Oh man, it's not on my screen. I gotta look it up.
I don't know. Yeah, it's my grasp of earth. The target that fails their fitness check to resist also suffers the immobilized condition is one of the things I can do with my opportunity.
Page 272.
Thank you.
Oh, and he takes 2 supernatural damage if I didn't tell you that.
He resists it.
Okay.
Immobilize. An immobilized character cannot perform movement actions or otherwise reposition themselves. Okay. Oh god, and they cannot select a different stance.
I just saw that.
I'm going. I'll see. Good night, everybody. I'm leaving. This water stance bullshit's killing me. Oh my god, he can't change out of it now. You guys are like Chrono Trigger triple teching this guy right now.
So good.
Oh my god. Okay, I can still attack though. Okay, so the crab are still clashing with the minions, and you see several more crab go down as the goblins and the skeletons fall upon them. They're also starting to be flanked as more of these minions kind of come from the other side. These 8 crab with Hida Hitomi and Hogo sort of circle around each other back to back and defend themselves as best they can, but you see more and more crab are falling every moment. Hitomi kind of comes forward with her Tetsubo and does a big sweep, and 3 skeletons just explode into powder. She sweeps her Tetsubo across, and then you see a spear come from one side and jab into the plates of her armor. She cries out in pain and goes down to one knee, brings up her Tetsubo just in time to block another blow. All right, it is Kamura's turn. He's in water stance. All right. Oh man, and the TN is increased by another 1 for the Jade that you guys are wearing. Okay, let me figure out here. Okay, water stance will give me 3. 4 for Marshall. The TN2 to hit normally, +3, TN5 +1, TN6 to hit Hokaiden. Come on, 9 dice. Let's do this. All right, not too bad. 1, 2, 3. I'll keep those exploding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Damn. 5. So this thing, it's prone, and the stone of the dais itself has reached up and grabbed it. And I imagine like roots too are like coming up and wrapping themselves around this Oni, and it's swiping with its claws, and the claws are just barely like right in front of your face, Hokaiden, as you're like standing over this demon with the crystal blade. It is Mitsukage's turn.
I have a question. When do I have to unmask? Is it like
You choose when you unmask. It's just until you do, you're compromised, which means you can't take any strife results.
Okay, so then I will be compromised after this because I rolled my dice already in preparation. But
Cool.
I got like 4 strife, so I'm well over. Okay, so my plan is to now run up ninja style. If I can get there, that'd be great. If not, I'll have to throw something else at him. But I think I might be able to get there.
Are you in which stance are you in?
It was going to be an air stance. Is he so far away that I have to use?
If you were in water stance, you could get there this turn. If not, you'll have to make a fitness check to get there.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to make the fitness check because I already rolled my dice and it's real good. Even though I'm gonna get lots of strife, I'm also gonna hit, which is nice. So I will make a fitness check.
Okay.
Fitness is 1. Oh, am I still doing the misery dice? Yeah, right.
No, because your Jade absorbed the affliction.
Okay, sweet, excellent. Okay, there's 2 successes on the fitness.
Okay, cool. So that's an extra range band, so you can make it.
Okay, so I run up. I'm going to grab the sword out of the armpit, if possible, pull it out, and then I'm going to move to a place that looks more maneuverable. And because he is immobilized, I get to do my ninja stuff, which is increase the deadliness of my attack.
Perfect.
So I got 3 successes, 3 upper advantages, and 4 strife.
That is successful. Give me some damage.
So that would be, it increases the damage and deadliness. So 5 base plus 1 bonus, right? It's 2 I need to hit him.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that would be 6 damage and 6 deadliness on a critical strike.
Okay, so he's going to negate 5 of that. So he takes 1 damage, but then do you want to do a critical strike with the 2 opportunity?
3, yeah, for sure.
Okay, cool. And you also get +3 to the deadliness from the opportunity that Chen spent on his last turn.
Oh my god.
Dude, Alexa, I can't even right now. Shut up. I'm doing something. Thank you.
Just tell her to tell you a joke.
I don't even understand. She's just over there, just I'm sorry, I can't help you right now. It's that's fine. I don't need help. I'm good.
You didn't even say your name.
I'm golden over here.
The immobilized condition. No? Okay, all right, then shut up.
Alexa, run the minion NPCs for me.
So here's the situation. I have my last dose of poison on the blade.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the deadliness is going to be, this is going to be real dumb. Super, it's going to be 3 from Chen. And then the deadliness of the katana plus my school makes that one 6. So that'd be 9. And then the poison was +5. So that'd be 14. If I'm not mistaken.
All right, let me make my fitness check at +3 from the water stance here. His fire stance is just sitting over there, just taunting me. It's just hey, it's really nice over here if you were in fire stance. All right. Ooh, that's some good exploding successes though. 1, I can keep 3. 1, 2. No. Let's keep these 2 exploding. But I take strife damage. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 3 damage from strife. Okay, I reduce the deadliness by 5. No, 4.
Okay, yeah. So I ended up with 13. So it'll still be deadliness. I mean, I can't math. 8 or 9, something like that. 9, it looks like, according to Jeremy, who I trust.
Maiming blow, bleeding condition, another scar disadvantage. He's in water. So you hew off one of its legs with your katana. You bring it down, and just the leg just flies off, splattering this black ichor across the stone. And the Oni lets loose this primal roar. All right.
Good God. Okay. Yep. Mitsukage is losing it. He's definitely sweating and he's breathing heavily. He's terrified of being near this thing. But some success at least.
All right. Hokaiden.
Hokaiden kind of seeing that this thing is more or less trapped and held and now handicapped gravely is going to, as he's kind of catching his breath a little, is going to calmly kind of walk like a semicircle around this Oni until he can get himself into a position that he feels is optimal. So he's going to be taking an earth strike, an earth stance, as he's calculated and calm. And then he's going to raise this crystal katana up and try to bring it down on something vital, if he can. Blink. Okay, so that's 2. It's exploding. Oh shit, okay. That's 3, but it exploded again. Holy shit, that's 4 and exploded again.
Oh my god.
And that's 1 more success. Okay, that's 5, but that's also 4 strife and 1 upper vanity.
How much damage are you doing?
It was 5 successes, I think.
And it's only TN1 for you with the crystal katana.
Yeah, and wait a second. I rolled an explosive success 3 times in a row, and then yes. Okay, so yeah, it's 5 successes, 4 strife, and an opera vanity.
Okay, so with 5 successes,
Dead.
so that's 4 bonus successes. And then how much damage from the katana? It's 6, right? Because you're
6.
wielding with 2 hands.
Yeah, so it's 10.
Jesus.
And then 4 strife to me. That's going to be putting me way over my limit.
How do you kill Kamura?
So he walked around this Oni, trapped by the Shugenja's magic. And when Mitsukage comes over and lops this thing's leg off, it howls in pain and drops its guard. The hands that this thing had go down towards the missing leg, leaving its neck and its head completely exposed. And Hokaiden sees his opportunity, steps forward, and with a brilliant flash of reflected, dappled light from this forest along the edge of this crystal blade, cuts straight through this thing's neck and lops its head off, as the head, probably the size of like Hokaiden's torso almost, like tumbles across this stone slab and comes to rest kind of at the edge, and its tongue kind of falls out of its mouth.
The 4 Jade Magistrates work together to best this Oni. And with a flash of the crystal katana, it's over. The head rolls across the stone platform, comes to rest at the edge. The one eye that remains still burning red. The head, though severed, speaks. I am but one of many. I am but a harbinger of the shadow that looms beyond your sight even now. Take joy in your victory today, for that joy will soon be as ash and dust. And then the Oni that took the name Kamura for itself dies with all 5 rings. There is a burning from within, and a fire overtakes it. Its flesh melts away, turning to sludge. It turns to stone and crumbles, and then the wind carries the ash and dust of its corpse away, and all that's left is void. Not even a scarce reminder of the Oni's existence on this plane. The goblins, the animated corpses, Some of them die on the spot, others flee into the woods, their master gone from this realm. As the battle ends, 6 of the 8 crab samurai that walked into this place with you lie dead upon the stone. Hida Hitomi is injured. She lies on the ground, bleeding. She'll live. The troll, he called himself Hogo. He looks upon the scene of battle. He looks at you, Hokaiden, nods his head in respect, and then walks into the woods, disappearing into the darkness. In the coming weeks, the conflict in the south faded. Doji Satsumi, the grinning crane, the Emerald Champion, he managed to negotiate a peace between the 2 clans, convincing them that they had been played, manipulated by something beyond this world, pitted against each other in a sick game intended to increase the Oni's power. The 4 Jade Magistrates responsible for the dead Oni went about their own business as the weeks went on. I will allow each of you a short epilogue scene as we end our campaign here. We'll go ahead and start with you, Chen, if you're ready.
Sure. Chen is on horseback. He is on a road home. But his mind is elsewhere. His mind is back at the battlefield. He's sitting there where the Oni once stood. Sitting in his grandfather's armor. No. He's sitting in his armor. And a Shiba pup walks up and begins licking his blood off of his hands. The horse trots further. He thinks of the letters that were written to him. All of those letters that went unanswered. Those moments that he could have shared with the people that should have meant the most to him. And the sound of hooves fills his ears. If only for a moment, he seeks this respite back at home. In the Unicorn Lands, just for a moment, to see his family once again. In his hand is a letter, not written to him by his family. Instead, a location scrawled upon it. The next meeting place where he can again convene with SOSHI MITSUKAGE and HOKAIDEN and AKUME. He looks up at the hill. He hears the pup at his side. And he sees his homeland. He feels no need for a flask. He just hears hooves inside of his ears.
Mitsukage.
Mitsukage finds his way back to Scorpion Lands and doesn't go to the sort of grand palace that the SOSHI clan lives in. He goes to this little out of the way stone building in the woods. He like rides there sort of slowly, calmly. As he like gets there, he like nods to the this like old man who like has one of those rice paddy hats, though he has a sword at his hip. And he gets off and he says, "Any trouble?" And the man shakes his head. He walks inside and there's a man sitting there at the table and he's drinking tea. The man is obviously been tortured more than once. He's missing his sword hand and he's missing the pinky finger from the other. And he sits down and the man looks up and says, "Oda?" And Mitsukage says, "Mitsukage."
AKUME.
I know, I'm still processing that. Oh my god. So, AKUME is in the Phoenix land for a short while. She is saddened to learn of the sudden, rather unexpected death of the ambassador, whom she'd spoken with only days before. And she feels the darkness continue to grow. And she does not feel at home where she once did. And so she travels, still a phoenix, perhaps the colors a bit more muted, introducing herself by her title of Jade Magistrate, more than Phoenix Shugenja. She comes from time to time to the Caillou Wall, to the Broken Gate, to the small Kami temple where they first met Kamura. She seeks out these places and remembers and reminds others. They will not be caught unawares a second time.
And finally, HOKAIDEN.
It's sunset on the golden fields of Lion Clan lands. A palace sits not far across the field from the form of HOKAIDEN, who stands just on the other side of a small stone wall. He watches a man walk along the road outside of this palace. And the look in HOKAIDEN's eyes is a familiar one. It's a dangerous glare. This is the man that he has been wanting to hunt for over a decade. We see HOKAIDEN pull the Tetsubo from the saddle once again. And then we cut to HOKAIDEN riding away on his horse. And sitting on the wall is this Tetsubo, left behind with a wavering strip of paper that contains a haiku. blades of grass and steel. Home whispers sweetly to me. Forever I roam.
We end our story at the palace of the emperor. Inside, Doji Satsumi sits. Tea brews. He listens as battle overtakes the palace. Something he has feared for a long time has come to pass. Something horrible but inevitable. Something even he isn't sure might not be necessary. He takes off his daisho and sets the wakizashi and katana in front of him as he pours himself a cup of tea, and the soji door of his quarters slides open. Standing in the doorway is the Scorpion Clan champion, Bayushi Shoju. He wears upon his face a full mask that obscures all of his features, save the steely eyes that peer out. Soju carries a katana that drips with blood. He steps into the room and wipes the blade clean. Satsumi says, "I was expecting you much earlier." Soju says, "I had to ensure that everything was in place before we acted. Are you ready?" Satsumi says, "Is it already done?" Soju says, "It is. I did it myself. The Emperor is dead." Satsumi takes one last sip of tea and sets it on the table before unsheathing his wakizashi. He nods to Soju, who comes up behind him. Satsumi looks on the table where more jade gavels rest. "Soju, you must promise me you will maintain the order of the Jade Magistrates. We will need them." Soju says, "I know. There is already one among our ranks." Satsumi drives the wakizashi into his gut, drags it across, and his head is lopped off in one clean blow by Bayushi Soju. He cleans the blade, sheathes it, and walks out of the room, closing the door behind him. And the blood of Doji Satsumi pools across the table, coming to rest at the other jade gavels set on the table. And that is where we will end our campaign.
Well done.
That was the
rad.
jade gavel. Yeah.
So many questions.
So a big thing in the lore of L5R is that the Scorpions eventually have a coup and they kill the Emperor and they take over and they become the new ruling family. And I really wanted that to be like the end of the campaign, like leading up into the Scorpion coup of just
Lloyd's over there like clapping and cheering. Did you
So
know?
pleased. Oda is a Bayushi as well, so
Yep.
that like they're related.
Yep. Oh, so anyway, that was the Jade Gavel, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. This was such a blast. I had such an amazing time running this campaign. This system is really fun. The setting is great, and I could not have asked for better players. So everyone already gave their epilogues, but I'm going to give everyone a chance to just do their outros here. And then we're going to go ahead and call it here. So Lloyd, why don't you go first?
It's looking great. I really enjoyed it. The combat's like super satisfying. You know, big combat, and all the abilities work together. felt like we were continuously like setting each other up for different things. That felt really good. Critical system is amazing. I love it. It's really, really good. That's the mechanics. The game was great, like really enjoyable. We had like 4 really different samurai who all had different sort of aspects of Bushido and like made them all interesting. I don't know, it's great. I want to run it.
I want to see you run it. Absolutely. Jeremy, go ahead, man.
Hey everybody, yeah, my name is Jeremy. I have a YouTube channel, Expeditions. Do live plays and things like that over there. I'm also 1/3 of the Dudes of Your podcast. You can find with my buddies Jeff Doty, Chad Nick, also on YouTube. This game was over my head mechanically. I'm not afraid to admit it in the least. I still don't feel like I understand it 100%, but I am much closer to it now than I was when we started this. That's for absolute certainty. And that is in no small way because of getting the chance to play it with you guys who are very knowledgeable, or at least seemingly so, and Matt for having infinite patience. So thank you guys very, very much for letting me be a part of this. Mechanics aside, I mean, the role playing was just phenomenal. Everybody seemed to really get the clan that they came from and capture the aspects of that clan just really, really well, and just in a lot of really unexpected ways it came up, and was very, very pleasing to see it kind of unfold. And so I'm very, very thankful that I got to be a part of it.
I am thankful that you got to be a part of it too, man. Barker, go ahead.
As Jeremy said, it was not 100% with the rules, but it wasn't because the rules, it was because of me. So if you've been watching this game, don't be discouraged. Get Legend of the Five Rings. This was awesome. This had everything that I wanted in an L5R game. And to sound like a broken record, great players, great what's the word I'm looking for? Diversity in the clans and the types of characters, as Lloyd said. A great twist at the end, and I gotta harken back to last session, the social maneuvering mechanic of the game. And I shouldn't even say mechanic, because that role play scene that we all played out was incredible. It was awesome. This whole game was incredible. It was awesome seeing Taylor wreck the magic system. I mean that in a good way, wreck it. And I want to run it too. And so just do me a favor and don't throw away your character sheets. This is going to be awesome. And it was awesome. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, man. I would just die if you ran another campaign and we got to use the same characters. That would be so cool. Maybe I'd have to play Hitomi. I don't know. We'll see.
You could play Chen.
Yeah, I'll play Chen. That's perfect. There we go. I'm gonna just run him into the ground. I'm gonna have him go back to drinking. We're gonna like do a Mad Men with him, where all the change and growth is just gone. Yeah.
Jump the shark.
Yeah,
Come
totally.
On, keep the viewers.
Yep. All right, Taylor, go ahead.
I have not played dice pool systems very much. My experience with them is limited, but I really liked it. The mechanics, like with every new game, there's a learning curve. There's a lot of book to read, but it's pretty forgiving. Like, you can do things wrong and you'll be like, oh shit, I did that wrong. And you know what? You'll do it right the next time. Or everyone will harass you about it for the next 18 hours or so, right, Parker? And I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely gonna get it and play it, even if I don't run it. But just the lore and the depth of characters that come out with just the creation process, which was a lot of fun. But I really enjoyed the whole trilogy. Matt, you did a stellar job tying it all together, and the little scenes were super personal and very diverse. Yeah, and oh man, that twist at the end. God, you got me. I just love it. I love being surprised. So it was great. Had a blast.
Awesome. Thank you again, guys, so much. My players for joining me and helping to craft just a really fun, really kind of heartbreaking story in a lot of ways. These are all very broken characters that we brought to the table, and they're still broken, but they're together now and they know how to support each other and how to help each other. And so that's great. So thank you everyone for watching, for tuning in. As always, may your dice always be hot and ready in Rokugan. And don't forget to go in the Shadowlands because there's monsters. And never trust Scorpion Clan because they'll coup everybody.
They'll coup your ass.
They'll coup your ass. Take care, everybody. Happy gaming all.